Salute, salute everyone. The streets are buzzing. Welcome to another chat show where we shout you out. We keep it 100 as always. Healthy Knicks talk. The New York Knicks picked up a win tonight. We're going to talk about that. But the topic of the show is what is the Knicks' plan moving forward? Because I say this, the New York Knicks are currently in the worst currently the worst draft odds of any team outside of the postseason. Still some players not getting the minutes I feel like they should be getting. And of course, there's a heap of decisions in the summer. So we're going to talk about what the Knicks' plan is moving forward. The Knicks need a long-term plan up in here because we are in basketball obscurity, mediocrity right now. But we'll touch on the latest from tonight. There was some news throughout the week. Tom Thibodeau might be sticking around for a third act. And of course, the Knicks waived the two-way player Lucas Samanic and brought in another young prospect as well. So are they laying some groundwork, for the future as well? But as always, we'll shout you out. It's going to be a great show. Salute Geraldine in the chat. Always up in here strong. Hope everything's well. Salute Juan. Salute to you. Appreciate it. Jarvis, my friend. Hope everything's well. And I dropped a couple of interviews this week. Of course, one with Mark Berman and Peter Vesey as well. So if you haven't seen those, check them out. And but we're going to be talking about the New York Knicks tonight, the current New York Knicks, and what the future holds. There were some nice performances from some of the young players tonight. Pop up the box score. Mitchell Robinson again dominated the glass. Was the story of the game for me. There you see it. 10 offensive boards, just 2 defensive boards, and was a +4, 15 points as well. The Wizards had no answer for Mitch tonight. But the heavy minutes of the veterans again, 34 minutes for Fournier, 39 minutes for Randle. Alec Burks saw a reduction of minutes due to Manuel Quickley playing well. Manuel Quickley had a nice game tonight as well, so salute to IQ, much needed. Quentin Grimes returned to the lineup, thankfully healed from the dislocation of the knee. It was great to see Quentin Grimes back in action, and he stuffed the box score again like he normally does. 6 boards, 2 steals, was +5 points in his 17 minutes. I hope that he continues to get a lot of burn for the rest of this season. But another disappointing story for me tonight, Deuce McBride didn't get a single minute, didn't get off the pine. I'm glad Taj, is a DNP at the moment and not wasting minutes. And Nerlens Noel continues to be out with the plantar fasciitis. So that's, we've probably seen the last of Nerlens Noel. But Evan Fournier continued, decent form. He is, inching closer to the New York Knicks franchise record of 3-pointers made in a season, closing in on John Starks. He's 11 threes away from John Starks with 12 games left. So Evan Fournier has given us some of the play that we expected, would be getting. Still feel like, the contract was a year too long and slightly overpriced. But Evan Fournier has not been effective this season on defense. But he's shooting. He is bringing that, from what we needed this season. And let's hope, possibly Evan Fournier's deal could be tradable in this off season as well. Juan says, New York sports as a whole is very embarrassing right now. Which other teams do you follow, Juan? Let me know. But I feel your pain as well. Everyone out here, Jarvis, appreciate the interviews, the feedback as well. Us older heads as well, 90s fans, it was a nice throwback, to talk about it as well. And, our fandom that runs deep up in here. And D Cool, salute. Hope you're well. What did you guys think of tonight's game? Give us your thoughts. But, I guess it's got me feeling a certain way. A bittersweet way, seeing the New York Knicks pull off a close win, and just looking at the future and looking at where the Knicks sit we currently hold the worst draft odds of any team currently outside of the postseason as well. That's stuck in no man's land. We're slated to draft. What is it? Yeah, we are in the 12th spot. We moved past the Lakers, and of course, the fact that we picked up the win as well. Washington, moved further ahead in the lottery standings as well. So we currently are in 12th with just an 8% chance of moving into the top 4 as well. So that is a tough situation, a tough pill to swallow for me. With 12 games left, got me asking myself, what is the New York Knicks plan? What is the Knicks plan for this off season, and beyond? Straight facts one, and Geraldine says, we hope we keep Evan. Okay, you want to keep Evan. His plays recently, improved with his 3-point shooting, and I think there's a big chance he will stick around. Geraldine, I think there is a big chance Evan Fournier may stick around, just because if we don't get the kind of deal that's team friendly, and then what's going to happen? We can't really move assets. I feel like we can't really move assets just to move that deal, right? If Evan's deal gets to the 3rd year and then it's an expiring contract, then I think it'll have a heap of new value. Geraldine, we pull it out, but we blew a 15-point lead and won by 3. Yeah, right. It was crazy. That just goes to say that the Knicks, the way they're currently constructed, the way we play, the way this team's built, it's not built for sustainable winning, unfortunately. And the thing that has me the most frustrated is I feel like if we had injected some more youth earlier in the season, as in giving Quentin Grimes a lot more minutes, letting Sims play a lot more, and throwing in Deuce McBride in there, I feel like the Knicks would have, be in the playoff picture right now. If that's what they really wanted, I feel like those moves could have been made, and I feel like that could have had us in the playoff picture. Salute Will. What's good? Yeah, indeed. Another hair-pulling, nail-biting finish. Knicks just can't hold leads no matter how much. Yep, absolutely. That's the disappointing thing at the minute. Like it just is. I feel like fans have every right to think about what the plan is moving forward. And in the thumbnail, Mitchell Robinson central to that, balling out again. The Knicks, obviously, it looks like they're going to roll the dice and try to keep Mitch. Try to offer him maybe less than the full value that he's eligible for. What do you guys feel like? Should the Knicks just pony up the whole amount? And do you think that the competition is just going to be too much? Do you think that the competition for Mitch is going to be too much? Another teams are going to take him away. I feel like it would have been wise for the Knicks to really extend him a lot earlier. And that's what goes into the long-term plan. What is the Knicks' plan at the end of the day? Let him hit unrestricted free agency, possibly lose Mitch for nothing. That's not going to fly. That's not going to fly among fans, and that he's going to have a lot of people disappointed if Mitch does roll the dice and leave for another team. And Il says, yeah, it's no coincidence that Tibbs' contract parallels with most of the vet contracts. Yeah, facts with that. Great comment. I feel like, it's understandable the news we heard this week, and that's a good segue. Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report first reported that, Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose, is not willing to fire Tibbs just yet. Wants to give him some security heading into the summer next season. But no doubt, for me, the seat is still going to stay hot. If the Knicks don't get much done next season, if this is the route that they choose to play vets and to try to compete, I feel like his tenure is going to be short-lived. I don't feel like there's a big home run move this offseason that's going to change the Knicks' fortunes. And I feel like Tom Thibodeau will more than likely finish his tenure in his 3rd season. But of course, stranger things could happen. But that's just what I see happening. We're on a completely different timeline for me. And I'm still seeing the same old stubbornness, with just 13 games remaining. Look at the minutes distribution again, right? The New York Knicks are seriously up against it, making the play-in, right? It's borderline impossible making it right now. And the fact that is that we're not prioritizing and playing the youth a heap more, has me, feeling, that the Knicks may not be prioritizing what's most important right now, because we are in no man's land. We are in the worst draft odds currently of any team not in the postseason right now, and that has us selecting around the 12th, selection. Right, the New York Knicks need to choose the pathway to building for the future. Right now, we need to pick a pathway. Our plan should be rolled back, and rather than playing, Burks, Fournier, and Randle that many minutes, I feel like Deuce McBride should not have been a DMP unless there's an injury I don't know about. I feel like Quentin Grimes, I know he's just coming back, but he should play a lot more moving in. I think he should have played a lot earlier. Jarvis says, even though the Knicks blew the 15-point lead, Washington blew a 9-point lead in the first place, but at least the Knicks close out the game this time, even if it was close. So, yeah. Obviously, there is some experiences to be had, Jarvis, with the young players playing. Mitch is increasing his stock. Like he's really putting that stock out there for teams watching right now. He dominated tonight. It was nice to see Quentin Grimes come back. I feel like Grimes should have been playing a lot more earlier in the season, right? It was way back when we lost to Indiana in Indy. I think it was around the 20th game mark. And I felt like the Knicks were floundering defensively. I felt like they should have inserted Quentin Grimes then, and that would have changed our fortunes, I feel like, defensively. That was when Evan was struggling and the rest of the team just couldn't get a stop. And I feel like we rolled it to too long for these vets. Nerlens was in and out too much. And I feel like the Knicks could have picked up a lot more wins. This could have been a season we seriously could have been in the playoffs as well. So I think some poor decisions were made around the rotations. And Juan says, this route is not going to take us anywhere. It's a stars league. Yep, exactly right. And you see the other teams in the lottery above us, New Orleans, San Antonio, Sacramento, Detroit, Orlando. They're building fast, right, Juan? And I'm on the same page. The Knicks need to get with that plan, for investing in the future and the youth. And like a part of that is what D Cool says, Burks, Taj, and Noel. Let's see what happens with them in the off season as well. Draft night's going to be heavy, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of moves to had. Burks should have some value with that. Taj, I'd be happily accept him staying as a mentor, as a vet on the bench. But Nerlens Noel, he can move up out of here. Facts. And salute, Lily. Salute. Appreciate it. Hope you're well. Give us your thoughts and the plans of this ball club moving forward. The New York Knicks, a lot of us have been fans for so long. And what has me most concerned is, got me asking everybody, what is the Knicks plan? Right? What is our plan moving forward? We're still trying to win games now with 12 games to go. I understand, you can't ask players to lose the games, but Tom Thibodeau is still coaching for wins right now. He's coaching for the wins. The minutes distribution, I'm not happy with that still at the moment. We're not going to make the play-in. It's borderline impossible now still, even with tonight's win. And I feel like we're just turning a blind eye to the elephant in the room, right? And that's setting things up for the future, right? These meaningless games. I've been through it all with Maurice Endauer, hitting the buzzer beater. It felt good at the time. It was a meaningless win and it hurt us. Shane Larkin, again, getting us another win down the stretch. Just reminiscing about these times, right? We need to build through the draft. And Edwards, salute. Has D Rose been shut down for the remainder of the season? I think so. He had a setback, Edward, and it seems like he's not able to yet practice. D Rose still held out of practice, and I think yeah, time's ticking for him to even come back. He might be ready to come back for the last 5 games or so, and won't be surprised if they throw him out there in these last 5 games. But I think it's worthless right now. You see the box score, Deuce McBride not even getting any burn. That'd be disappointing if D Rose came back and started playing minutes, right? I mean, what's the point? Have him ready for the future and have him ready for next season, and have him healthy so that in case we may need to trade D Rose as well. Do you guys feel like it'd be the right move to trade D Rose away to a contender and see what that does? Clears a spot up, clears some salary. I love me some D Rose, but we're just not on the right timeline right now. Salute 19, salute, and like D Cool says, yeah, why play Rose now, risking another injury? That's just madness again, short-sightedness that this franchise has had. Even if they've had plans, they've been short-sighted to me. Way back from when we signed Stoudemire and Melo, and then we amnestied Chauncey Billups to sign Tyson Chandler. That was an incredibly short-sighted move as well, right? We're not close to winning a championship. Look at the stars in the league right now. Giannis is only 25, 26 years old. Karl Anthony Towns is coming into his own. Luka Doncic out there. It's going to be heavy for the next 5-10 years again. Right, the New York Knicks need to roll the clock back and build around RJ Barrett right now because we're not close to winning no championship, right? We spent all our payroll. It was a huge offseason. We spent all our cap space on free agents, and here we are in the 12th spot, outside of the play-in with the worst draft odds of any team outside of the playoffs as well. That's basketball mediocrity. That's no man's land right now. That's the treadmill taking you nowhere. And 19 says Randle and RJ combined for 36, but on 12 of 44, and we still won, man. That's crazy. Crazy inefficiency right there. And Jarvis, yes, that's why I'm not too disappointed with the lead dwindling, close win, improving in the clutch situations to end the games. A straight positive for me. But we are far from perfect. Yeah, absolutely, Jarvis as well. RJ Barrett, by far been the best positive this season in growing to being closer to that player we need, right? Closer to that Batman or Robin, for the future, for the long term. And I think he's going to be the one to break the Charlie Ward curse, right? And to sign a New York Knicks rookie extension after next season or after this season, even they might extend him immediately. But Mitchell Robinson, I'm not too sure. He could be the one to break that curse before RJ, but just the way Mitch is putting things out there, the way he's been dissatisfied with the offense, with his inclusion in the offense. I mean, most of his offense is generated by himself. Like tonight, 12 rebounds, 10 offensive. Mitchell Robinson is generating his own points, and he's not too happy with his inclusion in the system and in the offense. So I feel like if a young up-and-coming squad like Detroit, Charlotte, OKC, Dallas come calling, that's going to be a very, very enticing situation for Mitch. And I think the only chance the Knicks have of retaining Mitch is to pay him the full amount. I feel like that's the only way he's going to stay. If the Knicks just pony up and write the full check, right? Because money talks. And Dunross, salute. Tibbs got really no choice. They got rid of Rose and Taj. They got to get rid of Rose and Taj, but I know he's going to be pissed off about that. Yeah, he absolutely is, Dunross. And what did you guys think of the news this week? Was it a surprise to you? Or did you feel like Tom Thibodeau was safe and he was going to stick around for a third season? Of course, it's, unconfirmed reports and things like that, remains to be seen. Anything can happen. But it looks like Tom Thibodeau will be the coach opening night next season, right? Mixed feelings about it. Obviously, I like stability. Firing coaches again would just be a sad story all over again. However, I feel Tom Thibodeau is not the long-term solution. I feel like he's not going to coach out his 5-year deal. Yeah, if they want him to stick around for one more season or just to see what it looks like next season, okay. But I feel like his days are numbered still, right? Coaches were hired to be fired. The Knicks aren't winning a chip in his timeline. Is he the one to be able to set the table? If he was a coach that could set the table, like a Kenny Atkinson or whatever, I'd be more enthusiastic. But I don't think that's Tom Thibodeau's goal at the end of the day. He's not here to try and set the table. He's here to try to accelerate this thing and try to win yesterday, right now. And that's what goes into short-sighted moves and decisions made with rotations, with free agent signings. A lot more questions than answers, which is what I've been saying, right? What is the Knicks' plan right now? Give us your thoughts on Tibbs possibly sticking around. And Amal, salute, giving us some taste of the draft, what's to come up. I like Duran. If Mitchell leaves, we need to move up in the draft at all costs. So, great point. We absolutely need to move up, and that's what's most disappointing for me right now. We're choosing this part of the season to click a little bit and play some better ball, whereas all I wanted was to see this better ball early in the season right now. It's so bittersweet because we're in basketball no man's land right now in the 12th standings, looking at these enticing, sexy prospects, thinking, man, we're so far away from getting up. I think with Duran, we might, have a chance if he slips or he's around that, 10 to 15 range. But if Mitch leaves, that's got us definitely asking, fam, about who we're going to have to replace. And one thing I can credit the organization for is the Jericho Sims plan of action to bench Taj, bench Nerlens. The fact is that we are prioritizing that young player to see what we can get out of Jericho Sims. I've been pleased so far with some of the things I've seen out of him. He's obviously still not ready to be a heavy minutes, contributor, but Jericho Sims has a heap of potential, and he's put his best foot forward in some of these games. Right, he has a real chance to stick around in this league, and it does also indicate everybody that they do obviously have some sort of apprehension about Mitch staying around. So otherwise, I feel like they'd still be playing Taj Gibson over Jericho. And Jarvis says, with RJ and Randle not having good, efficient offensive outputs, and we still won, I'm not too sad. Let's see if they continue improving going forward as well. And Jarvis, are you fully behind Randle, Julius Randle? Are you fully behind Julius Randle staying for the long term? Jarvis, let me know. I know you're big on RJ. RJ has a bright future in New York, but if Tibbs sticks around, does that mean Julius Randle is a permanent fixture of the future now as well? He's certainly raising his draft stock, his trade stock. Sorry, I feel like Julius Randle's trade stock was pretty low at the deadline, but he's definitely worked some ways to get that back up. And Juan Rose has to go to a contender and play off the bench. Yep, I agree with both things you just said. Derrick Rose can help heaps of teams and end his career on a great note right now. The team like the LA Lakers, they could desperately use a D Rose right now, or a Milwaukee Bucks. Could you imagine D Rose coming off the bench for a Milwaukee Bucks? A team like that, man, that'd be insane. And in terms of coming off the bench, I agree. Yeah, he needs to stick to that 6-man role, and he can do big things. And Juan says Fournier off the bench as well. Yeah, I've been crying out for that way back in the season as well. I feel like Evans, spark off the bench would have been great. The shooting, you could hide him on defense, getting up and down the floor a lot more as well. I feel like in the half court, it's a bit more of a struggle defensively. Jarvis, I really do like D Rose, but I would like to see him traded. Yeah, that's keeping it real. That's a real fan right there. Just understanding that we like D Rose, but understand the impact that D Rose can have, on another club as well. And Bricks Nation, salute, welcome. Worst outcome of the season. Like I said, man, bittersweet for me. It's bittersweet seeing the club you follow win. But at this situation, at this point in the season, it just got me more frustrated because I would like to see us play better earlier in the season, right? And the fact that is that they're stringing to some wins together now, and the couple on the road and the couple now here at the Garden. I knew we'd pick up a couple of late wins at the Garden to finish the season on a good note. They want to finish the season on a positive note, some of these vets and some of these teams, but man, at the situation, and I blame the front office. I know players can't purposely lose games. It's the front office that what is their plan, right? What is their plan to set things up for the future, right? Still got Tibbs playing vets heavy minutes as well, and some young players that should be playing more, like Deuce McBride, to see what he's got, right? We only have 12 more games. Let that sink in. This season's almost finished, right? It's gone through in a blink of an eye. And like 19 says, we need a pass first 3 and D point guard fast. As well, yep. Obviously, we'll talk more of some prospects later this show, but March Madness is in full swing, ladies and gentlemen. Ty Washington of Kentucky out of the tournament. Well, that looked like a guard that was within the Knicks' reach. Where we're slated to pick at the lousy 12th selection, his stock's dropped. He's going to have to seriously work out for some teams now, or head to the combine in Chicago to really make that stock go back up. And Amal, don't want to overpay Mitch because we can get his production in the draft. So, yep, I can agree with that. That's keeping that real. And I'm a big fan of Mitch, and in terms of what he does well, I understand some of the things that he still can't do yet on the floor as well. Obviously every player has some shortcomings, but Mitch, I feel like there's a lot of time he's had to work on some parts of his game, right? Yeah, Mitch does get fouled a lot. If Mitch shot 70% from the line, that'd be a huge game changer right there. Then you're talking about a dude who's guaranteed to put up points most nights. But like we saw against Andre Drummond, it's inconsistent. And we'll salute. I'm not surprised. Firing Tibbs would leave Leon on the hot seat with egg all over his face. Yep, absolutely. They're playing chess with that, Will. You always follow the line of chain of command up to the top. And Leon Rose, we know, best friends, close colleagues, former client, Tom Thibodeau. If he was to fire him now, it'd admit that he made the mistake, right? And these execs don't want to admit that they made costly mistakes, right? With huge dollar amounts attached to that. But I don't know what you guys thought, but the most interesting thing about the report this week from that situation with the Bleacher Report was that James Dolan did in fact give permission for Leon Rose to fire Tibbs, according to the report as well. So he had a free pass to fire Tibbs. But of course, like Will says, if he fires Tibbs, the hot seat immediately goes all the way over to Leon, right? And he's the last man standing. Because I feel like Worldwide West in that consultant role would stick around still. And of course, Gerson Rosas is a newcomer in the front office, so he's likely to stay. And Dunross, I'm disappointed that Tibbs is not fired this year, but if he don't change his ways, next year is the year he'll be fired as well. Yep, I can agree, Dunross, wholeheartedly. I feel like, obviously coaches are hired to be fired, but it's all about the plan. Does Tibbs fit into the long-term plan? I think this offseason is going to tell us a lot about the timeline, and the plan that this front office has. But I do feel like Tom Thibodeau won't finish his 5 years. Like I said, if you look at our roster right now, it's not conducive to winning right now. We're in the 12th spot, heavy veterans playing heavy minutes. I feel like the sad thing is if we had played some youth more, we probably would have had more wins, right? How ironic is that? Tom Thibodeau apprehensive about playing some young players. But if he had played Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims, Quentin Grimes, and Cam Reddish, even when we first traded for him, we could have had 2, 3, 4, 5 more wins. Who the heck knows? These veterans were in a slump, right? They're not all bad players, but we're unable to determine that when they were in a slump, we needed to go back to the bench, right? I felt like we left Alec Burks out there way too long when he was slumping, and Evan Fournier should have been playing less minutes when he was in a big funk as well. So I feel like Tom Thibodeau's loyalty has come back to bite him to a fault. And Juan, Tibbs destroyed the team in wanting to get a veteran PG. We just passed up. We have passed up numerous point guards in the draft. Yep. Yeah, that's another, situation about the philosophy with the drafting as well. Philosophy. The Knicks tried to move up to get a few players. At the end, again, because we're in basketball no man's land, obscurity, we weren't able to get the players we wanted last season. Right, there was heaps of nice prospects: Trey Mann, Chris Duarte, other players earlier in the second round as well, that we could have selected. But that's what has me worried about this team, this plan, this philosophy, and what are they going to do? Deuce McBride's on the roster. He's a point guard. At least see what you have in him right now at this point of the season, right? The fact is that they're still trying to push for the impossible. I mean, what is it going to take for us to get to the sixth to last game of the season to finally be mathematically out of it? And then we're going to use those 6 games to see what a player has. I mean, that's setting them up for failure, right? They need more than 6 games to get comfortable, to get in a rhythm. And here we are, the most disappointing thing all over again. We find ourselves in the outside of the postseason, but with some of the worst lottery odds imaginable, right? That's not going to fly, selecting 12th. That's not going to get us no difference maker, no player that's going to come in here with star potential that we need. Yes, the first round has depth. We could find hopefully a quality starting player and things like that, but we need this timeline to shift for the future. And you see these teams like Orlando and Detroit dipping into the high lottery all over again, and Cleveland looking good as well. These other young teams are going to be a far ahead of the New York Knicks growth and our development. And cool. If Tibbs going to be here next season, the front office has to make moves that makes this team a contender. Wins trumps bad coaching. Yeah, absolutely. With that, they've got to get on the same page. That's what's the issue with the plan as well, fam, because the moves that were made were counterproductive to what Tibbs wanted as well. So let that sink in, right? They're setting the man up for failure, and maybe Leon knows that. Maybe he just can't get himself to fire Tibbs because he knows that he laid an egg as well. Geraldine, with the Knicks keeping Tibbs, I think is a big mistake. He's not the right coach for this team. I don't think we'll be any better next year as well. Yeah. And I know Tom Thibodeau can coach, right? He can coach a veteran roster to squeeze as much as he can out of them. But what has me more worried next season is that, like Geraldine's just saying, will we be any better? Will we just see the same story, the same movie again? We'll try to push for the 8th to 6th seed. Our roster ultimately won't be good enough, and then we'll fall short all over again, right? I feel like the Knicks just need to pick that direction and embrace that direction, right? Just give the youth, heavy minutes, heavy minutes, not small minutes. And we're going to touch on Obi Toppin, Mitch Robinson as well, a bit more. Obi Toppin's in the thumbnail. What is the plan with Obi Toppin, right? Again, 8 minutes tonight. Killed all value, all trade value, all player confidence, all value. He was popping at the end of last season in the playoffs, was Obi Toppin. And his second season's gone by of his rookie deal and nothing, right? His value isn't closer to getting any better, and his play isn't any closer to getting better. So, is that another asset that we've mismanaged with Obi Toppin? So, give me your thoughts on that. Young Kobe, salute. They choose their plan, keeping Tibbs. Mitch, Obi is gone. RJ and Randle, absolutely no cohesion. RJ has a better relationship with Mitch than Randle as well. We could have seen hints of their plan, like you said. Keeping Tibbs, Mitch, Obi is gone. RJ and Randle, no cohesion at the moment. And I think it's the offense too. We talked about that with Mark Berman. It's a read and react offense, and Tom Thibodeau, you can win with players that are great at making the reads, and they're cerebral players and all of that. But this current roster is not cerebral. Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, early in his young career, is more of an isolation guy. We need that point guard to set the table and handle the rock, man, in the worst way. It's been way too long, right? If that doesn't get addressed this offseason, then this team's struggling, for the future, right? The fact is Charlie Ward was the last rookie to sign an extension, tells you all you need to know, right? And the last decent point guard we had was Ray Felton and Jay Kidd, right? Jarvis says, I hear you, fam, but think about this. If there is any chance of further improving our young guys even now, that will get us further than a draft pick if we don't develop rookies as well. Yeah, Jarvis. Yeah, nice point there. I feel like that's what has me the most frustrated is we could have made this decision earlier in the season. We could have implemented some youth and started playing better. I felt like we left that too long during that funk we had. And now we're winning. We're going to win some meaningless games, just like the Maurice Endauer, Shane Larkin, back in the day, that got us, out of some nice spots where we could have picked some difference makers, right? And we can't quite tank correctly as well. Like I said, there's an art to tanking. Players don't actively try to lose the game for you. They don't. But the front office, the coach, can still prioritize the future in certain ways to be tank friendly. And salute Elton, salute fam, and man, the one and only Ron Cleveland. Salute. Give us your thoughts on this situation, Ron. Just like the chat, they're on fire. Everyone here, what is the Knicks' plan moving forward? Right, I don't want to see this same thing again next season. Right, our draft odds get worse and worse. Our plays getting worse. We're barely hanging on to beat a ragtag, Washington squad. And Amal's no fan of Tai, so his stock's plummeted. Amal, I feel like Tai's got to get to the combine and he's got to get to the workouts ASAP. Him and his coach need to get to the gym and work on his separation. D-Cool, 14 mil for Mitch. Yep, I think that's probably what it's going to look like. David, salute. Doesn't think Mitch will be back. That's why we're playing Sims. Yep, we have one eye on the future with that. But does that admit folly as well? Does that admit that we left it way too late? Right, Mitchell Robinson balling out, best games of his career, which I'm happy for the man, but it's bittersweet. Right, he's got 1 foot out the door, and here he is putting up these kind of numbers. And Jarvis, CT, when it comes to Randle, though, but if we keep him and we can't get that starting PG, I'm good. Or if we trade him and we get that PG, I'm good. He and RJ are playing better together. Yeah, part of me would really like to see that with a good PG. No lie. You need someone to take the ball out of Julius's hands. Absolutely. Julius with a rigid scope and a role can play that role. Right now, I feel like last season did go to Julius's head a bit. Being that man, MIP, All-Star, All-NBA, I think there was no one on this roster to hold Julius, to that account. I feel like, and Tom Thibodeau is just way too loose with Randle. He's done him no favors as well. If Greg Popovich was up in here, he would have had Randle playing a little more tighter, in terms of sitting him down when he hasn't had it going. And Ronnie, salute. I like to see IQ get the point guard position next year with a veteran backup like Rose. I see IQ in the next 2 years becoming a solid scoring point guard with tremendous upsides for the Knicks as well. Appreciate your thoughts on that, IQ. Let's touch on him tonight. Yeah, he had a nice performance. For me, I want to see more in IQ, to trust him in that. But if what you're saying is, if that's a plan, if the Knicks stick to that, I'm all for that. If they stick to that and they give him a chance, I just don't feel like he's that difference maker, in the point guard spot from what I'm seeing. But he is a nice scoring guard. He's got upside. Yeah, he can certainly be a player for us around, for the future. And I like IQ. I like to see his defense get better and his court vision get better as well. And Ron says Leon Rose loyalty to Tibbs is going to get himself fired with Tibbs as well. No lie, Ron, no lie. Dudes were hired to be fired right now. And it's like the last man standing up in here, right? Tom Thibodeau, he wants to keep him around so he can be the scapegoat maybe for a little bit longer as well. And what do you guys think? Do you think maybe keeping Tibbs around for one more year is the plan, or half a year, just to see what Johnny Bryant can do. See if Johnny Bryant isn't quite ready yet. Is he the next man in waiting? And we all know now Kentucky, your former assistant coach, Kenny Payne, is now up out of here. Now the head coach of Louisville. So salute KP, the real KP, Kenny Payne. Well deserving, man. $3 million per until 2028, man. That's a huge deal for Kenny Payne. Let that sink in. He was already the highest paid assistant coach in the NBA, but now $3 million per for Louisville until 2028. Good on the man for taking that situation. So now Mike Woody Woodson's out the door. Kenny Payne's out the door. What does this mean now? Darren Erman stepped up. Johnny Bryant's out there on a lonesome right now. He was brought in by Kenny Payne. So Geraldine, we were never tanking. And for what? With Tibbs still here, it doesn't matter who we and where we pick in the draft. Tibbs is not going to play them. So spitting facts, no lie. And Tibbs won't play them until he's forced to play them or he's told to play them. But I feel like Tibbs would play a young player if they were a stud, right? If we could seriously get Jaden Ivey, Shaden Sharp, Jabari Smith, those kind of players, Tibbs would play. He doesn't play those mediocre role-playing young rookies, I feel like. If he feels like he has a veteran that's better than them. But my issue is Tibbs doesn't give them long enough chance to grow. How he's mismanaged the Obi Toppin situation, right? 8 minutes again tonight, right? That is on, like Ron said, that is on Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau. The mishandling of Obi Toppin now. Sad situation, just finishing his second sophomore season. Now his trade value is as low as it's ever been, right? If the New York Knicks know how to tank right, they know how to tank players' value, right? They know how to tank a player's value, man. Because Obi Toppin, once the college player of the year, 8th overall selection. Now, what is his value in the NBA? Nobody knows, right? Nobody can tell. 8 minutes per night. Another sad situation with that. And Jarvis says, if Randle is traded, I would welcome it, depending on the trade. If he continues to play better, he could increase his value as well. Let's see. Let's see if Julius does stick around. It's still fluid. I still feel like it's a fluid situation. Maybe next trade deadline, we're having these same conversations again with all these players. And I salute everyone out in here. Strong. Friday night, the feeling is right. Got us all talking. The New York Knicks fan base, we're the best fan base in the world. What is the Knicks plan, right? It's been long enough. We deserve to know what this plan is, right? Because there's too many conflicting moves being made right now. It has us in no man's land once again, right? The Frank Ntilikina's, Kevin Knox's, Obi Toppin's now, continuously drafting from the 8th to the 10 spot is not getting us anywhere closer to a championship as well. The real difference makers we get are RJ Barrett from the 3rd selection, the talent of a Kristaps Porzingis in the 4th selection. The Knicks aren't getting anything closer to inheriting superstar talent in terms of free agency and in terms of trades. So the draft may be our best chance. I'm just trying to keep it a buck. Free agents haven't been lining up to come to the Knicks at the moment as well. And with Tibbs here, I don't know how many vets and stars want to come and play here for the situation. I don't know how many rookies are enamored with coming here, right? Tyrese Halliburton didn't want to work out for the Knicks. Rokas Jokubaitis in Europe says he doesn't want to come over at the moment. So a lot of decisions to be made. Maybe IQ is that point guard, like we said, that they want to develop more in the off-season. Let's see. But I feel like Deuce McBride deserves a heap of more minutes than what he's getting. David says, I think the Knicks are in a good place. Basically, the same team will be back next year, and I'm okay with that. This team can get better. Well, obviously, yeah, teams can always improve from within, David. Now, addition by subtraction, if they make a lot of nice trades, getting Fournier, getting Burks off the roster to clear up some more minutes for the next piece, I'm okay with that. But I just want to see a clear plan to either get us closer to the chip or get us in the position to draft the best players available right now. Will says the Bleacher Report article made another great point. Leon appreciates Tibbs' willingness to be his voice and take all the bullets. You hit it with that one, Will. And that is sad too. Leon Rose, you're the president. Speak up. Talk up. Just letting Tibbs be the spokesperson. I mean, come on. That's just crazy talk. The president should be the one talking, should he not? Right, he's at the top of the organization tree. David says, I think Obi had a better season than last. He is improving. Look, it's hard to see, but yeah, in the small sample sizes, in maturity, no doubt, players growing in age, they're going to watch a lot more film. They're going to see their teammates, they're going to learn more playbooks, growing by default, in my opinion. But is he growing in confidence? Who knows, right? I think one of the reasons Obi wanted to get into the dunk contest again was because, he ain't getting no shine. Right? Obi Toppin ain't getting the shine that he needs. And I feel like, he's just deserving of more minutes, 8 minutes again. As an organization, you need to build up your players, build your value so that they're worth something, right? How were the LA Lakers able to trade for Anthony Davis? Because they empowered their young players, they gave them minutes, and they built their value up. The New York Knicks aren't building young players' value up so that they can be useful in a trade for somebody. And Bonson, salute. Great interview with Peter. Appreciate it. Tibbs staying means next year, same bat channel, same bat time. Right, yep. Treading the treadmill, right? You said it, Bonson. Basketball obscurity right now. Again, we haven't really learnt lessons. What have we really learned? And I had this feeling when we hired Tom Thibodeau, and I know the man can coach. Like I said, he's right for the right roster, but we're not in that right situation right now for Tom Thibodeau. He's hurting our acceleration in our rebuild for the future right now. You watch Detroit come up next season. Watch Orlando overtake us. And a great question I heard asked was, if you really want to know where your club is at, tell me which teams the New York Knicks are better than, right? Look around the league and tell me which teams are we better than. Obviously, we're slightly better than the Orlandos, the Detroits, but is that going to be the case next season? Is that going to be the case seasons after that when the next people are coming up as well? So that's what has me worried. If and when Tom Thibodeau is ready to retire or get fired and sail off into the sunset, will the New York Knicks be in a better position because of that as well? Or is he just going to stunt our growth? Is this philosophy, this plan we have, going to stunt our growth for a few more years and have us in a worse position? Just like every time LeBron James leaves an organization, right? He squeezes every last juice and blood out of the team to try and win the championship. And then if and when they fall short, they fall almighty short and they fall back down to earth. And Johnny, salute. I'm sorry, but in truth, D Rose was the man, not Julius as well. Hey, spitting facts, Johnny. D Rose still probably the most complete player on the roster, right? He can score, he can get to the cup, he can pull up from three, he can drive, penetrate, dish. Yeah, D Rose, sadly at his age, is probably he's the most complete player on this roster. But it's no surprise to me because he was the MVP, right? We don't have any player on this roster that is or will be an MVP, based on what we're seeing outside of RJ Barrett. So yeah, D Rose has that credentials. Yeah, salute, congrats to the KP. Edward would love to see a revamped, refocused Zion reunite with his boys and send Randle home to Dallas. Yep. You know what? I'd almost just be willing to roll the dice. Zion and all, bust and all. At least he has that superstar upside that Julius Randle does not. And hey, Julius Randle, you hit the nail there, heading home to Dallas. How comfortable did he look in Dallas, right? That's no lie. Julius Randle could seriously be a player that, might get fed up with this situation, right? No player wants to be underappreciated. The fans are somewhat divided on Julius. Maybe he wants to be in a situation where he's fully embraced right now. And we heard the chants, RJ Barrett tonight. He is quickly becoming, if not already, the darling of the team right now in the future, because we're smart fans. We're a smart fan base. We know that we're not close to winning a chip at the moment, right? So why not get behind and embrace our new star in the making? With all respect to what Randle achieved last season, I give him 100% complete respect for changing his game around next season. But if we're to win in New York, I don't think Julius is the man to be the number one option. Number two, number three, hey, let me see what that looks like. With a nice point guard, I'd be willing to give that a look, because Julius did sign a cheap contract. It was a team-friendly contract. I think it's going to be movable as well. So that is part one of the Knicks' plan, what to do with Julius. And Amal says, Randle has to go in order for the team to progress. Now is the time to make the move as well. Like you said, Amal, is Randle increasing his trade stock too? You guys let me know in the chat. Is Randle increasing his trade stock for a team? Right, we saw there was a lot of talk about why the Sacramento Kings opted for Domantas Sabonis. Did the Knicks just not get interested with Tyrese Halliburton, or was it Sacramento not interested in Randle? David says IQ is getting better and better. Yep, I always had faith that whether he's the dude we need at point guard or not, I have no doubt IQ will still become a productive player in this league. He can score, he can fill it up. He's still finding his way in the league. He's still trying to find out what player he's going to be. A player needs minutes to do that. That's why I feel some kind of way for Obi Toppin. I feel sad. Deuce McBride as well. I don't want a second and third year to go by for these players, and they don't know what their future holds. I feel like we killed Kevin Knox's career to some point, right? Front office malpractice, signing Mook Morris and all those vets, Bobby Portis and all that. I feel like we didn't prioritize Kevin Knox. And you can blame a young player if they never achieve their potential, if you've given them the chance to and given them the runway. But if you take that out of the player's hands, you put vets ahead of them, you don't give them the minutes and that, then you're to blame, not them, right? If a player is given a chance and they fail, that's on them. But if you take away that chance for them to grow in the league, you're to blame. That's your fault right now. And I feel like we killed Kevin Knox. Are we killing Obi Toppin's career in New York? Maybe so. It's a sad situation. And that's what has me nervous about selecting from the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th spot again right now. We select another player that yet needs development, needs minutes, needs time to grow. And our impatience doesn't allow that to happen. Geraldine, salute. Players look at other team players are being treated and they don't want to come here and play for Tibbs or this organization. And that's sad. Yeah, absolutely, man. The NBA is a brotherhood, a fraternity. They talk. Free agents talk. That's why we can't really get meetings. Why do you think Rokas Jokubaitis, I'm not trying to hype him up as being some starting point guard, but he's having success in Europe. He's winning chips there. He's being paid. He's happy with his role. What incentive does he have to want to come over to the States now, ride the pine, or risk flaming out? Right? He saw what happened with Luka Vildoza. Right? He's seen what's happened with Kevin Pangos and these other European players. So, like you said, Geraldine, hit the nail. Players do look at the situations, right? Deuce McBride, again, people hyped him up, as a 36th pick, worthy of a first round talent, but he's not getting no shine at all. After Deuce had that great game in Houston when he scored 16 and 16, I think it was, he's fallen off since then, and we haven't given him a chance. Randle will be fine for another coach that will hold him accountable, and it's all on Tibbs. He needs to go. So Geraldine making the thoughts be known, right? You want Tibbs gone ASAP, right, in the summer as well. I feel like Tibbs can coach. Like I said, he's just not the right fit for this club right now, right? I think like Kenny Atkinson would have these young players playing well, that have them playing unselfish, have them playing hard on D as well. He'd have them playing, confident, having played freely, having fun. I feel like a young coach like Kenny Atkinson, he's done it before. He has the track record as well. And I agree with somewhat with William Wesley. William Wesley has been telling James Dolan that Tom Thibodeau is not the right fit for us right now. Bonson, 100% agree. Deuce needs a real shot at PG. IQ can fill in at PG, but he's not the full-time one, in my opinion. Yep, I agree. I think we've given IQ enough of a chance this season to see if he can be that guy. And I feel like, he has a chance to still become that and grow later. But I feel like we've seen enough to know that he's not ready right now. Now let's give Deuce McBride that shot. 12 games to go. Give Deuce McBride 25, 30 minutes at the point guard spot running a team, not off ball, not sitting in the corner, on the ball. Deuce McBride on the ball. Let's try to boost his value or see what he can be right now for these meaningless games. Tonight was a win, basically, in a meaningless game, which made it a meaningless win. Now, these games can become meaningful if we're playing a player and we're giving them chances right now. Mike D, salute, what's up? I think the Knicks turn around with a real point guard, and I think Brunson is that guy. One Jalen Brunson, so he's hot on the topic of this summer. Dallas are doing well with Spencer Dinwiddie, hit the game winner in 2 games in a row. Did Dallas look at Brunson and say, hey, he's expendable? Let's do the sign and trade with the New York Knicks and let's get back some pieces. That's going to be real interesting to see. Jalen Brunson would be an upgrade as well. Rick Brunson, his father as well. There's talk that there's now coaching openings for him. Man, look out for that as well. Ilmatics, I think the front office's plan was to have Tibbs and his vets play well enough to make the playoffs and give the kids a taste of playoff ball, and then hand the team over to Bryant with seasoned kids as well. Hey, great comment, Ilmatics. If that was the plan, then it's a solid plan. It hasn't come to fruition. It flamed out. The front office, I think, is to blame still for some of these signings. Injury-prone players getting bigger deals. But yeah, I'm all for a team just with a plan. I feel like they brought Tom Thibodeau in here definitely to restore credibility. You're right in that regard. Made the 4th seed last season. We certainly achieved a tick with that. We ticked that box. We restored credibility. Now we've sort of lost credibility all over again. We went away from our identity. We let Reggie Bullock walk. He was a big piece for this. If we drafted his replacement, Quentin Grimes, he should have been playing earlier. I did a video way back in the archives after the 20th game or so. We lost to Indiana. I remember it. And I said for this season to become a success, the Knicks need to inject Deuce McBride and Quentin Grimes sooner than later, because those were a plus perimeter defender that we didn't have. We were struggling defensively, and we went away from our identity, and we didn't give that a chance. I feel like we didn't give our team a chance to improve defensively because we didn't give Quentin Grimes a chance early enough, right? That's what has me bittersweet right now, because we're playing decent ball at times. Some of these young kids are looking great, like Sims, like Mitch, like Grimes as well. Could you imagine what would happen if we inserted Grimes 25 games before he broke out and hit those threes as well? Hit those 7 threes in the game. Jarvis, salute. I am concerned about Cam's future with the Knicks as well. He was almost traded to the Lakers. Do you think he'll be here next season, or do you think part of the trade package? Great question, Jarvis, as well. One of the big question marks is what happens now with Cam Reddish as well. I'll touch on what you said in the later part of that, which is first, he was close to being traded. We don't quite know how close, but the Knicks do have intentions to see what they can get for Cam Reddish. I feel they will survey the landscape to see what Cam Reddish can get them, whether that's moving up in the draft, whether that's getting more of a ready-made guy. I feel like Tom Thibodeau, and reports are he wasn't 100% on board with the Cam Reddish move. He felt like there was no room to be able to play Cam. The one positive thing that they backed out of the trade is they weren't willing to throw Cam Reddish away for low value. Cam Reddish with Alec Burks for Goran Dragic and the 1st round pick, that would have been a bad trade, because we gave up a 1st to get Reddish. Now to trade him and Burks just to get a 1st back and Goran Dragic, I am glad they pulled out of that deal. So that does tell me that they are somewhat sensible in terms of looking for the trade, the right trade. They were desperate at the time and they didn't make that move. So I'm glad. But you're 100% right, Jarvis. I feel like on draft night will be a big chance for Cam Reddish to either stick or for a trade. I feel like draft night will spell Cam Reddish's fate. And it could go a number of ways. Like I said, if we end up in the, let's say in the 11th or 12th spot in the lottery, and there's a prospect we really like at 9 or 8, we could move up for future picks and Cam Reddish. I feel like they might pull the trigger on that as well, just to move up and use Cam Reddish as that leverage. So I think the organization is somewhat divided on Cam, and I feel like he has a lot of value around the league still. So I think Cam Reddish is yet to be a stayer in New York. I hope he is, but let's see. Let's see. And good point regarding Rokas. Reservations about joining us. Yep, absolutely. He does see the young players struggling right now. Exactly, Jarvis. Right. You're getting regular minutes for one of the biggest clubs in Europe. What is the incentive to come to the NBA right now? He's only 21 years old. He knows that he has a huge, bright future ahead. Geraldine, Cam is not a Tibbs player, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he'll be back. Yep. Spitting facts, Geraldine. And I wasn't impressed with him when we played him when we played against him in Dallas. So that's in regards to Jalen Brunson. Yeah, absolutely. Jalen Brunson had a bad game that night as well. But he's been more consistent than what we've had at that solution. And what do you guys think about that tendency to go towards family ties? You know, what the New York Knicks know. We drafted Obi Toppin, Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson, Tibbs, CAA, all of that. Zion Williamson, potentially the target, the Kentucky connection. What do you guys think about all that, right? Do the New York Knicks need to expand a bit more, or are you happy with them using their ties as leverage with this situation? Geraldine, Tibbs destroyed that when he disrespected Kemba. Like I said, other players saw what was going on. That was a sad situation. Mike D. Sims' play is kind of making Mitch expendable. That would free up space. Yep, absolutely, that would as well. We have a lot of double ups, like I've been saying, fam, ladies and gents. We have double ups on this roster, and I feel like Quentin Grimes and Alec Burks was a double up as well, or at least re-sign Reggie Bullock. Geraldine wants to keep Mitch. We need to pay Mitch his bag, keep him around. And Bonson, I lost a little respect for Tibbs after Randle. After Randle refused to be subbed out one game. No other player on the team can do that. It's a bad look. It's amazing that players have not quit on Tibbs. Yep. You hit the nail, Bonson. Favoritism in full effect. And I feel like that's what upset players with the Kemba thing early in the season. No lie. The fact that he took Kemba out of the rotation, didn't give that veteran as much respect. I feel like that's what upset some of the players, absolutely. And the frustration lies in whether they're getting minutes or whether they don't, right? Now think about honestly what Obi Toppin and his agent and his family must be thinking, right? I mean, 8 minutes again, they cannot be happy with this situation, right? It's seriously crossroads for his NBA career right now. I don't think he wants to go into another season with Tom Thibodeau dictating his NBA fate, right? Giving him sporadic minutes here and there, man. This is a guy that was selected 8th overall. And I salute Daras, salute Amal. We may have to part with Cam and Obi to move up in the draft. Yep. Absolutely. And that's sad once again, because we don't find ourselves in the right place we need to be. We're back to flirting with moving assets just to move up again right now. That's disappointing. That's upsetting, right? We need a better situation than that. We're once again treading the treadmill. Nick Gass, salute. Let Mitch walk. I think he's playing injured. Let him get paid and sit next year. Okay, let him get paid and sit next year. Yeah, you think he's a timer waiting to go off in terms of injuring again. Has me nervous, but yeah, Mitch has earned great great play. And again, bittersweet, because imagine if Mitch was playing like this last season. Imagine the value we could have got with one more year on his deal, his bargain deal. We could have seriously made that trade, or locked him up. Vaughan, salute. Does losing your assistant coaches affect chemistry in any way? With Woody and Kenny gone, I'm concerned Tom will have no one to sharpen him, as iron sharpens iron. So, yep, I think you're right on that, Vaughan. With certain elements, now that there's Johnny Bryant sort of here, that Tibbs didn't bring him in. He wasn't a Tibbs guy. I feel like that spot has to be filled with someone. Maybe they're just going to ride it out. That makes sense till the end of this season. I feel like they're going to bring in more Tibbs supporters now, just so there's no backstabbing going on. I think Johnny Bryant may stick around. However, Rick Brunson may be a guy that gets brought in. Familiarity again for Tibbs. And Farron Hunt, the dude we brought in on the two-way deal for Luka Samanic, 6'8", he dunks and has great passing abilities, and Jericho is the Mitch cushion. So appreciate that, Nick Gass. Yeah, Farron Hunt, I got to watch some more highlights of him. But I hope the New York Knicks can one day make something of these two-way guys, But Jericho, yep, looking like a dude for the future. I'm excited for Jericho. He's going to continue to learn. But now without Kenny Payne here, Kenny Payne was the coach that worked with the big men, for anyone that didn't know. And what does that mean now with Kenny Payne gone and for the big men? Does that also mean that Mitch is going to definitely decide to walk as well? DeRasp, Cam, Mitch, and Grimes will be in the future as well. Yep, Cam, Grimes, I'm on board. Mitch, I'm not 100% sold on yet. Let's see what happens. Sign and trade's a real possibility. Farron Hunt was silent move. Looking forward. Yep, it was silent. Absolutely facts. Jarvis, to the family ties situation, it doesn't impress me. Question is, can the player improve the team and be a game changer for the Knicks? Yep, I can appreciate that. Tibbs didn't listen to his assistant coaches anyway, and that's why they're leaving one by one. Yep, and the big payday, Geraldine. Money talks as well. Yeah, you want to be the man in college for Indiana and for Louisville. That says a lot. Did the New York Knicks explore a college coach to replace Tibbs one day as well? When Tibbs is finally out of here, do you think Calipari could be that big name that James Dolan likes, right? And maybe he finishes his career in the NBA. You guys let me know. And Nick Gass is over the Mitchell Robinson experience as well. Give us your reasonings. Mine is that he's deserving of the contract. His offensive game, I prefer a stretch five. He's a demon on the glass. Appreciate that. His shot blocking, all of that. It's the inconsistency you just can't rely on. I'm all for trying to get 100% winning players each and every day. Up in here to move the needle. Salute. Mitch will kill the Knicks fans every time he visits the Garden if they're stupid enough not to keep him. So, yeah, he will be motivated. No doubt. He'll be motivated with that. And I feel like Mitch's situation, it's been a journey for him. He's had so many agents, like we know. He was seriously frustrated with his first agent. Gave him that 4-year, locked him up for a 4-year minimum deal. That was stupid. And I feel like he's been ever since trying to make up for that. He's frustrated, no doubt. Him and his family want to see some proper compensation for him and his play. But yeah, that was a bad deal. Geraldine on point. Yeah, you're posting some good comments. Appreciate everyone. Everyone's on fire up in here as well. What is the Knicks plan on Knicks Buzz? We're here. Give that like button a shove. I appreciate everyone. Let's keep it rolling. Knicks Gas, meaning let him get paid by the other team. Yep. And bring in Taj. Yep. He's a wise head. Give him some assistant coaching, jobs as well. Hey, the New York Knicks are good at giving out coaching roles. Herb Williams, etc., etc. And salute. I call it the way I see it. Tibbs got to go. Yep. Every fan's entitled to their opinions. And Bonson at CT, what point do we say Leon is not performing? I think he has work to do this summer and he is officially failing. Yep, absolutely. At what point? At what point I would say last trade deadline that just passed, I would say Leon's not performing. Not just because he didn't make a move. It all goes back to what I'm saying now, the plan. He just didn't look like they even have a plan. You make that trade for Cam Reddish and the coach doesn't want to play him. The coach goes on and puts out subliminals that, hey, we're stacked at the wing. I don't know how I can fit Cam Reddish in there. Well, then why the hell are they making the moves then? And if you're the dude, you're the president, you tell your coach to play this guy, right? Friendship or no friendship. Leon Rose needs to grow a spine, needs to grow a backbone. If he makes a move, he needs to tell the coach, play that guy, or he needs to fire the guy, basically. And now he's just letting Tibbs speak for him. Leon Rose is absolutely on the clock. Again, like I said with the Peter Vesey interview, he said the New York Knicks keep being big on no experience, and it's a valid point, right? We brought in Phil Jackson. He had no experience running a team. So did we learn anything? We brought in a former agent with no experience running a team at all. And he's running the team right now. The Knicks are big on no experience. And yet we're asking ourselves why we're not winning as well. Look at what some of these winning organizations have. They have really, really experienced execs that know what to do, basketball heads. The New York Knicks haven't been consistently winning since our last two basketball heads, Pat Riley and Donnie Walsh. One of them got up out of here and the other one was railroaded. You know what I mean? Since then, it's just been trying to get a sexy name. David Fizdale, Phil Jacks, now Leon, Tibbs. For once, we just need to get good dudes that are great at what they do, right? Don't matter what their name is. That's why I feel like Kenny Atkinson was the right play at the time. Kenny Atkinson has a track record of doing it, developing youth, getting players playing hard for one another as well. Fairness, accountability, play calling. He ticked all the boxes right now, learning good habits right now. I think this isn't Tom Thibodeau's best coaching, performance this season. He's left a lot to be desired. And Nick Gass, 40-42 seasons, still a win? Nah, no, absolutely not, right? We ain't in a good position to even draft well right now, and our young players aren't developing. Hunt is solid because, talent acquisition, and he's always a plus. Yep, he may also be part of the trade package. I gotta watch me some more highlights of Hunt. New York Knicks had to do something, right? Luka Samanic was just, man, he was out from plantar fasciitis since the start of this season. And Vaughn, I like Mitch. I wish he would commit to us. However, I'm not mad at any player being misused or undervalued as well. Yep. Yeah, no lie, right? And I think, look, whether you're on the train of keeping Mitch or you would like to see Mitch go and not pay him, I think we can all agree that Mitchell Robinson hasn't been used to his full advantage, right? In this read and react offense without a point guard, there's been a heap of times he's been moused in the house, solid positioning, and not been thrown the ball. There's no lie, right? The dude has a point when he posts, I run up and down the court for cardio right now. And he's, like I said, he's getting his own points through putbacks, right? And him and his agent and whoever's behind him should know when he's on Charlotte, when he's on Detroit, if he's on Dallas, he's going to look even better, right? So, I mean, you tell me, if you have the chance to get paid the full amount and be on a team that's sexy and can play to your strengths, isn't that a no-brainer? As much as some fans with the Knicks may want Mitch to stay, if you're being honest with yourself and you're Mitchell Robinson, are you able to tell yourself that the Knicks are the most sexy situation for you? Or would Charlotte be a better situation, right? If money was money, the same amount, apples were apples, would the Knicks be better for Mitch? Or would Charlotte or Detroit be better? You tell me. Amal says, Mitch has no offensive game. Why are we acting like he's Wilt as well? Again, I think the Knicks have a certain standard that the fans haven't had a young player, Amal, that we're seeing grow in our own backyard. We drafted Mitch with the 36th pick. He obviously has strong ties to Carmelo Anthony trade in that situation. A player that we developed, somewhat developed. And if we lose him for nothing, I think that's really gonna light a fire under a lot of fans. Now I see him running perfect with quickly, and Hunt is quick. Mitch was messing up all passes given by Randle as well. So fans somewhat divided with the whole Mitch situation. Vaughn says every player will not be a Hall of Famer. Mitch, with no formal playing experience, 80 coaches, 1,000 agents, needs time to find consistency. Hunt to quickly and Obi, way better than Mitch. I love Mitch, but I don't mind him robbing another team. Just know us. He's dead weight. Okay, yep. Yeah, some fans frustrated with the inconsistency. Some teams see that potential for Mitch to maybe be a consistent demon. Vesey is an American treasure. What a legend. Will enjoyed that, appreciate it. He definitely called it like he saw it. Geraldine, Scott Perry is overrated. He should have been fired along with Steve Mills. Yep. Experience. I think he's here for his experience, Geraldine. Like they said, when you're an amateur president, having a dude that has some experience to fall back on, I think that's why the only reason Perry's sticking around, if I'm keeping it a buck. And Nick Gass, Hunt got some college and G League experience. Mitch is a slow learner. I still like to see Mitch, shake off some habits. That has frustrated me. His free throw shooting, God knows why that hasn't improved. Maybe it'll just never improve. But Mitch has improved with the fouling. He's improved with some positioning, staying on his feet. He's not the shot blocker he was in his rookie season. Remember when he was getting out to the 3-point line and he was swatting those blocks back? That was must-see TV. That was SportsCenter highlight reel, right? That's when I was super high on Mitch. I was like, man, this dude's going to be like, a beast, a monster in this league. Now I think his ceiling is just a solid starting center, just solid. I don't think Mitch is ever going to be a star. And Dunross, the problem is that Tibbs needed to use Mitch more. The team is so scared of letting Mitch go this year as well. And our coach need coaching. Yep. Who's going to hold the coach accountable, right? We want a coach that holds players accountable. Who's here to hold the coach accountable? Who knows, right? We've already heard Tom Thibodeau doesn't lean on his assistants for offense and defense. He is the offensive and defensive coordinator himself. So he's a one-stop shop, right? Does Johnny Bryant see the writing on the wall and wait for his next head coaching role, and he ups out of here as well? That's going to be interesting to see. Remains to be seen, ladies and gents. Hunt will be cut in 10 days like all the ones before him. Yep, he was juiced up. He's being juiced up, just like Luca Vildoza was. Ryan Arcidiacono. Our coach need to retire. I still feel like Tibbs is going to be around for a bit more. Scott Perry's babies are prospering. Mitch, RJ, Randle, Quick, Grimes, Alonzo, Trier was the only fluke. And he changed the way we develop and got foundational rooks. He was fiscal with the draft picks as well. Ntilikina was a Jack's pick. And I love our coach, so I'm not a Tibbs hater anymore. It's nothing burger. At the end of the day, Tom Thibodeau will still be here, looks like, next season. Let's see. But with the plan, what is the Knicks' plan? Where he's failing, to me, is the Deuce McBride, Obi Toppin situation. Those dudes deserve minutes. They can help a team, right? This season should have been a season we made the playoffs. To me, that is a grand failure. That was their plan, to make the playoffs. They spent all their cap space. We were the 4th seed last season. For us to not even be in the play-in, to me, is a grand scale failure. And what would have avoided that? I feel like rewind back to 20th game. It was clear Kemba Walker was a dead man walking. There was a clear that he couldn't defend. He couldn't move the way he needed to move. Evan Fournier was struggling. Tom Thibodeau should have said, okay, rookies or no rookies, Quentin Grimes is one of our best perimeter defenders, right? I need defense. I need to play Quentin Grimes. So that's one of the biggest things Tibbs failed to me, right? We would have won a heap more games. We'd be in the play-in spot if Quentin Grimes got into the rotation earlier. He had that trust, right? But Tom Thibodeau does not trust young players enough, right? There was a point in this season Obi Toppin was thriving as well. There was points in the games where he was thriving and he yanked him out too soon. And Deuce McBride started to look great. When Kemba went down, Kemba Walker was taken out of the rotation. That's when Deuce McBride should have been inserted and never taken out. Deuce McBride should have been a mainstay in this rotation the whole season. And those are my keys to why the New York Knicks aren't in the play-in right now, right? We've left it too little too late. We had a roster good enough to be in the play-in, right? It's just been a failure on the coach and the front office to not get us there as well. And of course, how could I miss the Cam Reddish thing? The moment we traded for Cam Reddish, he should have been straight in 20 minutes per night, right? He's a clear cut above a lot of players athletically, talented-wise, right? Getting to the cup, drawing fouls, right? The fact is that Cam Reddish couldn't see burn for like 15 games was a blight. And Jarvis, I like Mitch, but if he leaves, I don't blame him. The Knicks had plenty of time to extend Mitch, and we may lose him. If we do, the Knicks need to sign Mo Bamba as well as a backup. I agree, Jarvis, but the thing is, Mo Bamba is going to be in demand as well. He's up for a rookie extension as well, and he's balling out. So, but yeah, I don't blame Mitch whatsoever as well for wanting to get up out of here as well. Go chase that payday, and I think the New York Knicks are sort of, just divided. Feel like they're divided, offering Mitch the full amount. And Bonsa says the only way you let Mitch go is if you have a valid replacement, Miles Turner type. But Mitch is a top 10 center in the league at the moment. And if he starts hitting threes on Dallas, we're going to be sorry. There's certainly a chance we could regret it. There always is. The player could definitely, grow. Realize getting traded could light a fire, or the team not committing to him could light a fire on Mitch. No lie. And great point about the replacement too. If you don't want to pay Mitch, you need another plan, a backup. Who are we going to sign? I feel like that name Miles Turner is going to keep coming. And by the way, so-called stretch fives are not consistently championship fives for me. I don't want my big men chucking up threes on a regular. I want him to own the paint. Cat is a stretch five, so what? So yeah, appreciate that. You want players that own the paint, down low presence as well. I think they work well with a nice point guard, nice pick and roll point guard. I feel like the stretch five does need a little mid-range game though, at least. Otherwise, you see what Mitch can do. If Mitch can stretch the floor just a bit, I feel like that's going to open the offense a lot more. And Geraldine, that may be true, but you tell me why Scott Perry did lowball Mitch and trying to lowball him again, pay the man. So yeah, he did trade for him, but maybe Perry ain't the sole decision maker with that. Maybe Leon and all that's coming from above, or Brock Aller. Brock Aller has been spoken of about being in charge of the money as well. And Nick Gass, Mitch needs to play next to an explosive player like Jar. Send him home. So, hey, that's a great point. Like I said, he'll look great next to LaMelo Ball, Kay Cunningham, players that look for him and that can actually pass the rock. Exactly, Geraldine. Yeah, Deuce sitting was so sad. He even went to Mike and Clyde to get sympathy. It's another sad situation. Tibbs is a maniac. Grimes was good on defense, but to not give McBride burn was crazy. Yep, absolutely. I feel like, that's the reason we're not in the playoffs right now. I think we can all agree, right? You guys let me know in the chat. Was our roster good enough to make the play-in or playoffs at the start of this season? I think 99% of fans said we're going to make the playoffs. Like that was a minimum, right? For us to not make the playoffs, that's a failure on the coaching, failure on the front office, right? We had the tools. They just weren't utilized well enough, right? Why did you draft 4 players if you barely used Sims this year up until now? You barely used Deuce. You barely used Grimes up until after the All-Star break, right? Why did you draft them if you're barely going to use them? And they could clearly help you, right? Quentin Grimes came into this season as a sniper, and he could defend better than Evan Fournier. Yet we persisted with Fournier so much. And Amal says, would you trade Mitch and the 10th pick to move up in the draft to grab Ivy or Johnny Davis? Absolutely. Yep. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I would do that. Mitch in the 10th. I think Mitch is out the door anyway. I don't think we're going to keep him. I think he wants out. Like I said, even if, I know a lot of fans want to keep Mitch, but even if we offered him the full 15 mil and another team offered him the full 15 mil, I think he's choosing the other team. I think he's just he's seen this situation. He's had a taste of it. He's lived it for 4 years now. He's lived New York. Tom Thibodeau sticks around. I just think Mitch wants to be up out of here. It's all in the body language, all in the tweets, in the posts. His uncle, his family, all of that. And also, imagine if New Orleans, his home city, offers him, the same amount of money. Like it's just a no-brainer for Mitch. Yeah, we all know that. Yeah, low ball, great business. Remember Joe Kim? Yeah, facts. Free agency was an absolute debacle. Word with that. It was very, very disappointing. Injuries making him a better coach. Bonson, absolutely. We were good enough to make the playoffs. We blame Tibbs and we blame Leon. Yep, absolutely no lie. And maybe that's why there's no firings just yet. When that Bleacher Report story popped up, part of me was not surprised at all. Part of me not surprised they want to run it back and just to see, just to try to prove people wrong that, okay, nothing went right this year. Let's correct our mistakes. I do believe people deserve second chances. But if they lay an egg again, I think their heads are going to roll. Absolutely. And Bonson, absolutely. Yeah, we were good enough. Yep, it was a debacle. No lie. This free agency. And there is a chance they could correct some things, no doubt. Like trading Evan Fournier is a real possibility now. Look at the way Evan Fournier is playing. If you call up another front office, you have a legit argument for them to take Evan Fournier, right? He's about to achieve the franchise record in 3 points made, right? And overpass John Starks' record. He just needs 11 more threes. And he's shooting 42% from 3 in the Garden, 39% from 3 on away courts as well. So Evan Fournier, he's come to play after the All-Star. Fingers were pointed. He wasn't getting along with Julius, all of that. First season in New York, we all know it could be a bumpy, rocky road. I feel like Evan Fournier may just be a stayer. He might just be. But at the worst case, I think Evan Fournier's deal is tradable. Is tradable now. Geraldine, if he's not a Tibbs player, he won't play. Yep, absolutely. That's part of his rigidness. Yeah, you're either a Tibbs favorite or you're not. Salute Cecil. I would trade Noel and the 10th pick to move up. Yeah, I feel like they are going to try to move up or down. Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks, Cam Reddish, Fournier, they're all going to be on the block, no doubt. There's not a player on this roster really outside of RJ that can't really be on the block in terms of a big trade to move up or down. And we're going to do the tankathon, but the Portland Trailblazers have 2 picks in the top 10 at the moment, and they're trying to build around Dame Lillard as well. So that's a real possibility if the Portland Trailblazers are interested in Obi Toppin, Quickly, Randle. There could be a lot of trades had with Portland to move up as well. So buckle up, strap yourself in. This draft night is going to be insane. We're going to continue bringing you more March Madness and more draft coverage as we get closer. We've got only 12 games left of this season, right? It's flying by. All eyes are now on the Knicks plan. What is the Knicks plan for the future, right? We're in basketball mediocrity right now. We tried to make the playoffs. We're not even in the play-in right now. We're in the worst lottery selection odds out of any player currently out of the postseason as well. So we're not in a good position to draft well either. So this front office is up against it right now. The clock's ticking. And Leon Rose had Mitch father kidnapped, and he still didn't sign the extension. Oh, man. If Deuce and Grimes were in the rotation from the start, the years as I wanted, we make the playoffs. If they stay healthy, without a doubt, better than a 500 record. On Mitch, no Orleans. Okay. Yep. Yeah, like you said, I think we would have been in the playoffs absolutely if Deuce and Grimes were in the rotation from the very start. That goes back to the front office. They don't trust these guys. Why draft them if you don't trust them, right? It was clear for me to see after 20 games that Quentin Grimes could give you more than what Kemba Walker could give you, right? But they're stubborn politics. Let them tell themselves that, no, we need to keep playing Kemba Walker. He was a grand signing. Evan Fournier was a grand signing. Well, these dudes were draft picks as well. So, again, they should have trusted these players a lot more. That's what has me tonight heated about this meaningless win. Some fans saying, wins are still good, players learning, they're developing. I understand that part as well. But what has me frustrated is I knew we were capable of playing like this earlier this season, but we chose to play this way now as well, right? When players want to turn it on with just 12 games left, that has me feeling a type of way. Why couldn't they play a certain way after 40 games this season? You know what I mean? I would have been okay making the playoffs and playing. So, yeah, this situation, right, it's compromised. It's compromising each other. The front office, too many chefs in the kitchen right now. Who's really got a stranglehold on the real decisions being made, right? We got Worldwide West, who was trying to go behind and tell James Dolan about Tibbs. Now you see reports that Tibbs are safe. So what does that mean? What does that look like for Worldwide West now? Dudes just trying to save themselves, basically. A front office divided. Gerson Rosas now a new guy in here. The maturity and the development aspect of Kenny Payne is no longer here as well. Mike Woodson, we're missing him in the locker room. So this thing is really becoming the CAA, Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau family. Now they run the ship, basically. And let's see what it looks like for another half a year. I give it half a year, 1 year more year max, right? If we don't move the needle forward, I think this front office is going to be out of here. They're going to run out of lives. And Tibbs didn't use Fournier properly. He said he never in his career had to hang out behind the 3-point line. He was a driver. Yep, great points there. Great point. Another situation, yeah. Anemic offense, poor offense this season, right? We came into this season thinking, okay, our defense is going to be a bit weaker, but our offense is going to be way better, right? Didn't we say that? Because Kemba Walker, Fournier, things like that. Well, it turns out our defense was worse, much worse, and then our offense was much worse as well. So Tom Thibodeau needs to wear a lot of that, right? The play calling, the read and react offense, right? It was just not the right situation for a team without a point guard. And Nick Gass says, I think the players didn't have chemistry at first. Yep. Issues in the locker room, started out slow. The Kemba Walker thing, the grand unveiling, like Nick Gass says. Kemba was the jersey selling move, right? They put the commercial out there on day one, the Jumbotron and the presentation on the garden floor. They need to wear that. They need to wear that. And now Kemba Walker is not even with the team. Let that sink in. He's not even coming to the facility. He's down in Charlotte, probably practicing with his future club right now. Again, that was a bad move. I think Randle could be interesting in Portland for that 9th or 10th pick. Yep. Yeah, I agree. If I'm keeping it a buck, Amal, I seriously feel like that's the play for Portland, and it's a nice play for us to get another pick back. And why do Portland need 2 first-round selections in the top 10 if Dame Lillard is still there, right? He's going to want all the help he can get, right? So look out for that with Portland and the New York Knicks. Now we're up against it. We need to move up in the draft. We're currently in 12th seed in the lottery standings as well. So I don't think we're going to be able to catch Washington now with losses. I feel like we're going to win more games. That's the feeling I'm getting. Players are starting to feel more comfortable. They're playing with freely with no nothing basically on the line. I feel like they're just playing free, and they're going to win a lot more games. Geraldine says, I hope teams don't have an input on who we draft. Oh my God. I think Tom Thibodeau hates the whole draft process as well. He's going to push for all the picks to be traded, Geraldine, I feel like. Unless we can get that absolute difference maker, absolutely, Tom Thibodeau is going to want vets. That's what he does. That's what he wants. And Tibbs got Randle and Daddy out here. Mike Woodson was great for RJ, and Frank also goodbye. A salute, Juju. Salute. Hope everyone's well. Rocking out with us tonight. Knicks Buzz. Give that like button a hit for your cuz. And let's keep it rolling. Yeah, Nick's Gas says, Randall be hurting, guys. I kind of like when he put opponent on the floor. Yeah, we need the physical invested Randall, right? If he's playing hard, he's playing tough on the glass, man. He is a load to deal with. He's a load to deal with. But Randall's interest in games, it fades. That's what has me frustrated. He's invested some nights, then he's not. Like, look how he played in Dallas. Like, I mean, it's just unfathomable. 46 points, balling out. Just that's what we needed earlier this season right now. But, it's gone the way it's gone. We're here now. What is the plan moving forward? We've talked about Mitchell Robinson. Let's talk a bit about Obi Toppin now. Give me your thoughts on what we do with Obi Toppin. Was it a failure? Have we failed Obi Toppin? Has he not deserved more minutes? Do you think he's all hype, no hustle? Do you think we've done him dirty? Do you think he has a future in New York? Do you think he will stay in New York? Do you think they want him here? You tell me. For me personally, all signs point towards we've done Obi Toppin some dirty, just like Kevin Knox. You don't draft a player that high and not prioritize his development. I feel like we should have either decided at the trade deadline or last summer, after Randle became an all-star, we should have traded Obi up and then when he had max value right now. Obi Toppin's value may never get to the level we want it to be in New York. That's just a sad fact right now. No matter how much you believe in Obi Toppin, what he can become, his trade value may never become what it was with New York Knicks now. I don't see him ever getting more than 15 minutes here right now, and it's a sad, sad situation. It's mismanagement from the very top. And here we are with another asset, 8th overall selection, and unable to make something of it as well. And I'll be back in just give us 30. I appreciate it. Let's get it. Juju. I wish our regular season started now. Yep. That is what has me feeling some type of way, everyone. The fact is we're starting to play real well now. It's been the story of the last 10, 15 years, right? New York Knicks in mediocrity. Juju. Like I said, if the season started now, we'd know what to do. Play the youth a bit more. Quentin Grimes, Sims, development of the offense, play freely, play better D, all those things, man. But the season's gone the way it's gone. It's been a lot of lessons learned. And Leon Rose is an amateur president, right? We're big on no experience. In the words of Peter Vesey, James Dolan is big on no experience. And that's where we're at, right? Dudes are learning on the job. We're paying Leon Rose to learn on the job. And I think he had to hire Gerson Rosas to correct some of that, basically. I feel like he needed another experienced guy in the office, to see what's going on. And they should have worked with Samanic, develop him, in my view. Coach Pop loved him, but had no room. He's mad, big, and talented offensively. They'll be sorry they waived him. Yeah, I had high hopes, man, on Samanic, on Luka. But you know what? That situation, he was just injured for way too long to be able to play. They were patient. He had plantar fascia since January 4th, I think. Since Jan 4th, he hasn't played a game for Westchester, and they just gave up. Yeah, they gave up patience on that. But he was a big man. He could stretch it. I would have loved to see Luka get a look. I was hopeful he'd get a look at this end of the season, but yeah, man, it just hasn't happened. And Nick Gass, Obi was great, but Tibbs don't respect his skills. Yep, that's no lie. And I think we've failed him in terms of value right now, because Obi, a New York own, he was Leon Rose's pick. What does that say about Leon Rose? If this was his pick and he's let this go on, I know Julius balled out, but man, how could you just tank Obi's value like that? The Knicks may go after Zion in order to move the needle. It's a risky move, but it seems other teams can make the moves like the Knicks, but moves like the Lakers, but not the Knicks. Yep. And I think Bonson, we may have to go that family ties route, because let's be honest, man, we can't pull off a bigger trade at the deadline. We can't pull off free agent signings at the moment. All that's left is maybe to go after the Jalen Brunson, the Zion thing. Hopefully Donovan Mitchell is the bigger name, that requests out. But we've backed ourselves in the corner with this situation. And yeah, Geraldine, he's not a Tibbs guy, you're right, just like Knox and Frank. And I think only one can succeed in between Obi and Quick. Emmanuel is scaling up, but Obi is cursed. Even when he won the dunk contest, people still trash him. He's old with 2 kids now. Has he got 2 kids? Look at that situation, man. Obi is 24 years old. Like I said, man, we've left it way too long. And yep, salute Jarvis. Appreciate you rocking out. Let's get it on the next one, and let's chop it up. Yep, we can. Yeah, Juju, we control our destiny. Yep, no doubt. Amal says, I think Obi needs to stay. If someone will have Randle, but if Obi can get us higher in the draft, then you have to consider. Yep. My worry is, Amal, that is Toppin's value, anything considerable at the moment. Is there any value left in Obi Toppin? Remains to be seen. Again, if you ask scouts, executives around the league, how can you make any kind of assessment with 8 minutes per night? Bad coaching. Randle only needs to play 32 minutes. This way, Obi can get 16, and you can maximize both players. Ding, ding, ding! You hit with that one, Cecil. That's exactly right. That is a fair compromise. It's common ground. It's sensible. It's common sense. It's all of that, like you said. It's blatantly obvious. If we can see that, why couldn't they do that, right? Why did you need to keep playing Randle 42 minutes, right? When you could have simply just played him 32 and let Obi get 16 minutes consistently every night or more, and let him grow every game. Now, I know there are games Obi looked out of place, he looked bad, and that, but how are you going to let the player improve if you don't let them play through that? They're going to grow each and every game if you give them chances to fail and make mistakes. But the fact that you keep yanking Obi after every single minor mistake, right, that's just how you kill a player's confidence. You absolutely kill that player's confidence. And like Jarvis says, appreciate everyone. Nick's buzz. Give the like button a hit for your cuz, and appreciate it. Let's go. Eel Zion fried chicken, he fell off. No, Nick's gas don't want Zion. So I think people are going to be divided. It's a risk. The New York Knicks have their history with injured big men, right? But as long as Cam and as long as RJ's here, Nick Gas, everyone, that's going to be a story. That's going to be a story. Keep that on the radar, right? Because we know Zion's not staying in New Orleans, right? That's a given. You can book your house on that. But where does he end up going? He fawned all over the Garden. He needs that situation, that spotlight. But Geraldine don't want any of that. Overweight player that can't stay healthy, and Tibbs will break him. You can't argue with the talent, though. Upside talent and the box office talent. And also, don't underestimate the fact that having RJ and Cam here being Duke buddies for life, don't underestimate that as a fact that may get this thing happening. Don't rule that out. Yep, look, 24 is old now. No, certainly not. But I think for a player like Obi, who's not getting many minutes, I think that has a lot of fans questioning his ceiling. But yes, certainly there's a lot of time for Obi, to improve and grow. Knicks Gas does think 24 is old in terms of a prospect. But look, for a player that's not getting the enough minutes, Obi, 24 years old, rather than focusing on the age, whether that's old or not, what I need to focus on is his contract situation, right? After this season, Obi Toppin is 2 years down into a 5-year deal, but 4 years where you need to make a decision, right? So only just 2 more years for Obi Toppin before you have to decide what to do. We're exactly what happened with Kevin Knox. We'll be back to square one all over again. So it's been a grand failure managing Obi Toppin. I was pleased that we converted Kevin Knox into something, Cam Reddish, but now we're stuck with that asset, Cam Reddish. Now we need to see what we can do with that asset. So we're forever asset managing, but I don't have the complete confidence the Knicks can do it right. I just don't. It's been way too long since we've managed assets the right way. As proof in the pudding, Charlie Ward was the last Knicks rookie to sign an extension, man. That was in the 90s. That's unfathomable, right? I mean, other scouts, leagues, organizations just laugh at that, right? I can't even believe that myself, man. Charlie Ward, he's been retired for forever, right? And we haven't signed another rookie to a second deal. That's crazy talk right now. So hopefully it's going to be RJ Barrett. I mean, it might be Mitchell Robinson. Let me know, guys, who is going to be the dude to break that curse, because it's been going on way too long. And Obi needed to play with Magic Johnson, a Jason Kidd, and a Michael Ray, right? Yeah, to get into the groove, Ed. Yeah, this situation hasn't been kind for Obi as well, because of the point guard as well. Not just because of no minutes, but no point guard, right? All the talk that Obi's a half court player and not a half court player, needs to get up and down, but who's he going to get up and down with? No one even looks for him except D Rose, right? When D Rose went down, that's that spelt the end of Obi's chance to really pop, I feel like. And Knicks Gas, enjoy the Fosters, mate. Yep. Salute for that. Salute P Nice. Give us your thoughts, man. This club treading mediocrity right now, treading the treadmill year after year. Right? What's the plan moving forward for this? We have the worst draft odds out of any team currently not in the postseason. Again, we're in the middle. We're not close enough to be able to make the play-in. I think we're still 5 games out. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. We're stuck with a heap of question marks on contracts. We're stuck with young players that aren't getting enough minutes. We're playing players way over minutes, like Burks and Randle. Tom Thibodeau is going to hang around again. Are we just prolonging the inevitable, the painful? Rather than rip the Band-Aid off, is keeping Tom Thibodeau here just prolonging the inevitable, right? Do we need to cut bait and move forward with this other timeline ASAP? Because Tom Thibodeau, he didn't even trust rookies this season that could help the team, right? And I think that's ultimate downfall for the reason why we're not in the playoff picture, right? We would be in the 8th seed, no worse, if we'd started playing Quentin Grimes after 40 games or so, 30 games, put Deuce McBride in there a bit more, adjusted the minutes, given Evan Fournier a shorter leash. I feel like we would have been good enough to get more wins, right? But there has been some positives. Like Nick Gass says, RJ Barrett has been trusted this season, has taken a leap. Salute to him for that. And Geraldine, I wouldn't be surprised if RJ won out. Look, nothing would shock me, but I think we're safe for now. I think that's a ways away. But truth be told, RJ is probably looking towards his next timeline, to be honest with you. He sees what's happening right now. And I know it ain't like some of these contracts aren't movable, but the reality is we've spent all our money. that can't be disputed, right? This roster we have right now is fully paid, fully extended right now. And then there's talk people want to extend Mitchell Robinson. We need to trade Nerlens Noel. We need to get Joakim Noah's money off. Let the cap increase. But this front office needs some trades, man. They need to wheel and deal because Leon Rose has to clear some space up, clear the runway for Cam Reddish, clear the runway for Obi and for Quentin Grimes and Deuce McBride as well, right? And whatever rookies we add, all over again. And D Rose looked for Obi with every push up the court he shared with him. What happens with Rose? Yep, great point. That's what has me worried as well. The only time Obi Toppin looked fantastic was with D Rose on the floor, right? And since D Rose has been out, it's been a situation where, Obi's been longing for D Rose to be back. And, it's a sad situation that Obi ain't getting the minutes. Leon is a weak GM and should be telling Tom who to prioritize. He drafted Obi, yet Tibbs still refuses to play him. Yep, absolutely, Bonson, right? Isn't it the definition of insanity? I still can't get my head around that. So Obi was Leon's pick, but he can't tell Tom to prioritize him. I mean, instead he's tanking his value. And like Geraldine says here, that's why sometimes you can't hire your friends. Yep, I agree. He was scared, basically. These moves reeked of being scared. Leon Rose, first decision as an exec, hire as a friend. Why not hire someone who's got the runs on the board, developing a young roster, right? Kenny Atkinson, Mike Miller, even Mike Woodson would have been good for the youth. And you hit the nail with that. Simply, you went safe, and it hasn't panned out, right? He got the most out of the roster last season. It was a fluke because it was a compromised season. Other teams had COVID problems. It was empty arenas. I think the Knicks caught lightning in a bottle when they won 9 in a row. And I think that's what elevated them to the 4th seed. But they really weren't a true 4th seed last season. Obi, Mitch, and Cam plus the 11th pick to Detroit for the 3rd pick and fillers. Yeah, definitely I'd do that. To get up that high in the draft. Jaden Ivey would be a real difference maker. And that's what the Knicks need to do. We need to get ourselves in a position to build through the draft right now. That's the train I'm on. Like I've been saying, that's your guarantee to get star talent, in terms of potential star talent. There's no guarantee with a trade. There's no guarantee a free agent signing is going to want to come to you. The one guarantee is that you can put yourself in a good position to draft good talent right now. Unfortunately, it's the long route. Unfortunately, nothing's promised there either at times, but it's your best chance. I feel like the Knicks' best chance is to build through the draft and prioritize, because Charlie Ward was the last Knicks rookie to sign an extension. Well, that's just insanity. And Ed says that RJ has a deep connection with New York, going back to a child wearing the Knicks cap, listening to his uncle. Yeah, absolutely. He, like he said on draft night, yo, I'm a Knick. I can't believe I'm a Knick, right? I think he's happy here. He's happy with his name being chanted tonight. We're giving him chances to grow. That's all that he needs. We made the Cam deal. Cam Reddish up in here has to make RJ feel some kind of way. Maybe there's back channels. Maybe there's talk with Zion. Maybe pie in the sky. But what do you guys think? Do you think the Zion thing is the plan the Knicks should really keep their eye open for, given the fact that he's likely to be out of New Orleans? Or do you think that's just too risky and it's going to give up too much? It's going to cost too much and it's going to be pie in the sky. Too risky? Let me know. Because there aren't too many guaranteed things in the league. Like we can't really say who's going to want out. But I feel like it's a safe bet that Zion will be the one that wants out. And Sabonis tonight, 30 points, 20 rebounds. Wow, that's crazy. Yep. Young player has upside. Sabonis. With that situation, Sacramento, another organization like us, treading the treadmill. It's just crazy. I always say the NBA is the most difficult league to win. You need a clear plan. and you need to be patient executing the plan. Right, the Knicks keep getting impatient. They keep trying to find the quick fix. We're impatient developing players in fear that they'll make mistakes. Like, so what? So what? You bring Obi on and he makes a couple of bad defensive plays. Like, he's the 8th overall pick. Let him grow. Let him play. Let him play some, especially right now. Right, Julius Randle putting up numbers now does not help. We know who Julius Randle is. Right, for God's sake, there's only 12 more games left, and we're not making the play-in right now. We should be using every single minute to see what a player looks like, at least so other executives can look at it and see what kind of value they have as well. So this team just continues to be so short-sighted, right? The same season, like I said, when Maurice Endauer, scored the game winner, Shane Larkin, meaningless wins, right? We fell one pick short of Steph Curry, difference maker, pick short of other players that were difference makers as well. So we continue to tread the treadmill of obscurity right now. And I have no confidence that things are going to be any different next season. Would I like it to be different? Absolutely. But do I think it's going to be different? No, I don't think it is. I think we need to make the tough calls and not keep falling back onto this safety net with this family ties and things that we know with CAA, with Leon and Tibbs, right? We should have gone outside the organization to find the best available guy for this roster. And I feel like that was Kenny Atkinson. And I think even Johnny Bryant would bring his outsider, experience and outsider fresh ideas and opinions if we gave Johnny Bryant that chance. And Geraldine, yeah, if Zion is here, then Mitch is gone. Yep, absolutely. I think Mitch is gone anyway, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to be negative on fans and anything. Would I be mad if Mitch stays? No, I would not be mad if Mitch stays, but I just see the writing on the wall. I think Mitch is out of here. And Mitch Randle plus the 2023-2025 first round picks. Yep, that could get it done, do you think? Send Randle back to New Orleans as well. Maybe he can link up with Elfrid Payton and Mitch. Bonson, it's a big risk and maybe a dream, but RJ, Zion, and Cam would be off the chain in the Garden. So, yep. So, yeah, some fans are still really, really high on that. And given the fact that Zion is most likely going to be out, it's a realistic possibility that he'll be available. And salute Gummy. Realistically, Mitch, Rob once out. Can he be useful as a trade chip, maybe along with Obi, to bring in a great point guard? Yep, that's what I'm thinking as well. You can't hold on to a player that doesn't want to be here, basically. And the money talks. If Mitch grabs the money and he stays, then I understand. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to want to choose a better situation for himself. It's been a bumpy road for Mitchell Robinson, his 4-year tenure, in terms of the bad deal that he signed with his agent, the first year deal. And I feel like now's the time he can get paid and he can really take his talent somewhere else. And Geraldine says a lot of players came here, bleed orange and blue, and couldn't wait to get the heck out of here. Players want to win. So, yep, no lie, right? Losing will do that to you. Losing will question your hunger, question your ability to want to get up and play hard each and every night. And also, let's not underestimate the locker room. We're not in the locker room, so we don't know. But if you're in the locker room with players that you don't really like, players you don't get along with, players who are me-first players, and that can wear players out too, right? No accountability from the coach. That can frustrate players too. Remember, Kemba Walker was dubbed around the league as the most friendly guy, the most character-building, locker room-friendly guy. And look what happened to us this season. We took him out of the rotation, and we were the butt of all jokes around the league, right? Even though Kemba wasn't helping us, the fact is that situation wasn't great for an optics perspective around the league. And Miles says Mitch, Randle, and 2 firsts plus. Yep, for Zion. Let the talk continue. Zion, too risky. Never wanted him, even in the draft. Going into Duke, RJ was the top player in America, not Zion. RJ is the one who fed him all those highlight dunks that turned him into the number one. Yeah, I can see the arguments for both, man. It'd be that another name chasing player that we go for with Zion, and he needs to show me something. If Zion does come and we go after, we trade the farm for him, it needs to be a situation where he's rectified his value, his health, his hunger looks on point, and he says, look, man, I really want to be in New York to rectify this thing, because that would be box office. A healthy Zion that sheds weight, that would be box office. So, and look, there is rumors that why Julius Randle is slightly unhappy is because he might see the writing on the wall with Zion and the Knicks' plan through World Wide West or back channels. He might be thinking, man, if Zion comes, that spells the end of Julius Randle, right? Those guys cannot coexist. Basically, Mitchell has to approve a sign and trade, right? Yep, he does, absolutely. He has to approve the offer sheet that the other team offers, and then the Knicks have to agree to the pieces that the other team is sending back. Amal. So yeah, it's a full collaborative effort. All three parties have to agree with that. And I salute J-Dub. We are winning silly games, like I told me. Now we are in 12th place in the draft. Yep, we've been spitting on it all show, J-Dub, as well. What is the Knicks' plan? It's been happening year after year. Not in a good enough position to draft a difference maker, always needing to trade up, and then also in a position and not be any closer to winning a championship. Right. Now, I understand players, there's an argument for making the playoffs. There's valuable experience, there's all of that. But to me, there's only one question that you need to be asked, right? Are we closer to winning a championship? That's the one and only question an organization needs to ask themselves. Making the playoffs don't just mean just making the playoffs. Just because you can say you made the playoffs, it should be, are we closer to winning a championship as well? So if making the playoffs and flaming out every single year isn't getting you close enough to win a chip, then shouldn't drafting and prioritizing young talent and youth be the other way to help you get to winning a championship as well? So I think last year was the biggest factor in terms of fool's gold with that. And Zion's commitment in the offseason conditioning will be key. Yeah, absolutely, Edward. Yeah, combined with the vocal preference for the New York Knicks. Yep. He has to vocally be outspoken, and he has to be in shape and all of that. And then all cards are on the table, my friend. The New York Knicks, then it's game on. Which deals can they do? Which offers? I'm hearing that we're keeping Tibbs as a coach. This is a bad move. CT, yep. J-Dub, I'm on that same train. I think Tom Thibodeau is a good coach for the right roster, but this situation ain't the right situation right now. And I think it's inevitably going to happen. The Band-Aid is going to come off, and I feel like it's going to be next season. I don't see Tom Thibodeau making it past the third year, basically, because I think it'll be a very similar story next year, especially if we don't get that point guard. And RJ said point blank, he wants to sign the extension. It's his motivation for balling out these past few months. Yep, salute for that. Young RJ Barrett wants to be a New York Knick for life, homegrown, almost homegrown. His godfather is in Brooklyn, Steve Nash in the same city. Loves the bright lights, the spotlight. Let's get it with RJ. Let's continue to build around him. And looking towards the draft, Juju says Jabari Smith is a real deal. He's going to be nice in the NBA. Yep, no lie. Jabari Smith, no lie. That is a player we've heard, Juju, that the New York Knicks are interested in as well. So that tells you their commitment to the power forward spot. They're not tied down to Randle. I feel like they're not in love with Randle after this season, and they're certainly not in love with Obi as well. So all cards are on the table for this ruthless front office, right? You see World Wide West in James Dolan's ear. I feel like this front office, they've got the knives maybe out. Because let's be honest, what have you done for me lately, right? They've got to be somewhat disappointed in Randle. They gave him money, they extended him. this season hasn't, gone according to plan. There has to be a situation where every business is willing to pivot, right? You can't be tied down and in love with one thing and never be willing to move on from it as well. And I think if the Knicks had moved on from Phil Jackson a bit earlier, well, we could have been closer to building, for that winning team as well. But we let him meddle a little bit too much. We let Steve Mills hang around for too much. We may have been letting Tom Thibodeau hang around for too much as well. So you need to know when to cut the cord, basically. And again, it's so important hiring the head coach. Again, Phil Jackson's tenure could have gone a lot different if he didn't hire an inexperienced Derek Fisher as well and had landed the man Steve Kerr. So and then he hired Jeff Hornacek, which wasn't the right coach either. Then we hired David Fizdale, was way not the right coach as well. Now we hired Tom Thibodeau as well. So don't matter how incompetent the front office or the president is, if you don't hire the right coach as well, that's a surefire failure, basically. And we need to get that signing right. We should have drafted, we should have signed Kenny Atkinson, a player that could develop, could be patient, take losses, and improve players from within, improve the system, the structures, all of that, right? That's how the Brooklyn Nets got to where they did right now, Yeah, and we failed with that. And Jordan, it doesn't matter where we draft, there are always diamonds in the rough. We just have to draft the best player and not a Tibbs guy. Well, yep, I can agree with the second part. We definitely need to draft the best player available, not just a Tibbs guy. But I do feel like it does matter where you draft as well. For the most part. For the most part, there is diamonds, but yeah, there is true difference makers in drafts, and there are role players. And Bonson, checking the vibe tonight. Looks like I'm not alone. I was not happy with this win tonight as well. Yep, I agree, Bonson, as well. And it's not, it's not as black and white as people think. Like, I'm not unhappy the Knicks won a basketball game. I'm unhappy they decided to win this game now, which is a meaningless game as well. There's a difference to me, right? I want the Knicks to win a game on opening night. I never root against my team on opening night. It's the 70th game, which I'm angry about why we chose to play good ball now. It's the same old story, basically, right? Because I felt like this club could have played better earlier this season if they had hit the right buttons, basically. Right now, we're prioritizing Mitch, who's a free agent. Obi's not playing any minutes. He's under a rookie contract. We need to be elevating players under contract and Deuce McBride so that their value can become something. Winning organizations build players' value up, right? Why do you think Toronto Raptors, LA Lakers, and that can always make big trades, wheel and deal with parts, right? The New York Knicks assets are always looked upon by other teams as being nothing because, they always love making a mockery of some of our players. Even RJ Barrett ain't getting respect, right? And that is because the New York Knicks have a sad history of tanking players' value, right? We're not an organization, we're not a feeder club that builds players' value up. It's simply not true. That's what's frustrating, right? We don't have a clear plan. Cam Reddish is another example. We spent a first-round asset for Cam Reddish, and it took us like 15 games to play the man as well. So you can't make this stuff up, right? It's just amateur stuff. Mitch blocked KD's unstoppable J. Who else have you ever seen do that? Any questions? Definitely, Mitch came into the league, and especially the other night, he blocked that shot. Mitch has certain value, absolutely. I just don't think he's the right play for the Knicks right now. We've seen 4 years of a player, and to me, that's enough sample size to see whether or not you can win, whether or not we can win with Mitchell Robinson being paid $15 million. I'd rather let another team, work with that situation and see what it becomes, because the Knicks aren't in positions where we can take too many more gambles. And Geraldine says, CT, making the players is how Tibbs will keep his job, giving us false hope so we will be stuck with him for another year, going nowhere as well. Yep. Like I said, I agree. This situation, it's too comfortable. It's too comfortable right now. Making the playoffs is how Tibbs will keep his job, giving us false hope. And that's what they want to do. Right? We're not on the right timeline. We're just not willing to admit that we're not getting closer to winning a chip. And J-Dub, we are generational talent to transform this team. We are not getting that at 12th. Yep, exactly. Right. And good drafted players can help your club grow, no doubt. Like Quentin Grimes will help this club in the future, Sims, Deuce McBride. But what I'm talking about is really elevating the club, like an Evan Mobley, for an example. That is the generational talent we speak of, J-Dub and Chat and everybody. Yeah, one player that can take this team to greater heights, basically, because there's one reason why this league and this sport's so difficult to win is because there's only 5 players on the court, right? One player can set the whole team apart, right? Like Kevin Durant, some teams LeBron in his prime, some teams just have no answer for that generational talent, right? And that's what you need. Players that aren't really difference makers at the end of the day can be nice, but it's mediocrity again, right? We've been 30 years since we've won our last, 50 years since we've won our last chip, right? It's been embarrassing. You know what I mean? We need to stick to a clear plan and build slowly with patience, right? Build this thing up, keep building through the draft until you get to the point where you're sexy enough for free agents, to want to come. And RJ's father played for St. John's in New York, and for 4 years his mother, who is from Brooklyn, ran track. His pedigree is ridiculously good. Yeah, facts. It's in the bloodstream, in the DNA, right? And I feel like with his godfather, Steve Nash, and his father, a former baller and a basketball man, I think he has all the mentality things sorted. He's built for a long career in the NBA, is RJ. So he doesn't let things get to him as well. If anything, he could be a bit overconfident, I think, in his abilities at times. But once his abilities catch up to his mindset, I think it's just going to be box office, going to be lights out. I keep drawing comparisons to Jimmy Butler. I think Jimmy Butler steps on the court and he's like, I might not be the most skilled player, but I've put in so much work and I'm going to hustle so much that I'm going to out hustle you, basically, like Jimmy Butler, who came up, we all know his story. Jimmy Butler was homeless for certain parts of his life, right? And that taught him a lot. And hard work is the greatest teacher, right? You could face a player that's more skilled than you, higher pedigree, but if you outwork that other player, then you can take it to greater heights. And that's why Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, the late great Kobe Bean Bryant, that's what set Kobe Bryant apart, because he had the skill set and he had a mentality that was unmatched with anyone else. He's like, I'm the most skilled player and I put in the most work. So you got no chance against me. You know what I mean? Some players like AI, have the best skill, but they don't want to put in more work as well. So I think, RJ Barrett's work ethic, it's on another level. And same with IQ. And that, I think, and if Tibbs is our coach, then we both know we're not playing the youth. Yep. That's a product of that. And Bonson, you're spot on about Phil and not cutting him earlier. It cost a spider. They let him pick the player in the draft and then they fired him. Yep, you can't prolong a mistake. Yeah, absolutely right. Right. As an organization, and even just as a business, you need to be able to cut bait. Absolutely right. Like you said, and the funny thing is in life, all these things can relate to other things, not just basketball, right? For example, let's say we're running a company, let's say we're running a Fortune 100 company, Fortune 500 company. You hire, your good friends out of college, right? You come up with a good friend, right, in the business world, and you hire your friend as an executive to run your company, right? Your friend's making godly mistakes and decisions, right? Do you your company's sinking ship? You're losing, you're bleeding money. Your company that you built with your own hands is at stake. Do you fire your friend, and save that mistake, or do you let that tank value? Do you let that tank the value of your company as well? So this is business at the end of the day. You can't prolong a mistake, right? You need to fire it ASAP. And that's the perfect example. Like you said, Phil Jackson, right there, then and there. You decided to want to keep him, and it cost you. Absolutely cost you. Like, we can't afford to keep making those mistakes. And Geraldine, the top 5 or 10th pick could be the wrong pick. The draft is a crapshoot. So, yep, no lie, the draft is a crapshoot, but it's an educated crapshoot because it ain't like casino where it's like roulette. You wait for the ball to land on a number. This is different. You have intel. You can draft players. You can scout them. You can work them out. You can get intel from their family. You can see them in the combine. You can see them in March Madness as well. So you have a little bit more control. You could hire the best draft scouts, which the Knicks have. So the Knicks are in a better position to find that stud talent if it's available as well. The ultimate end goal is a crapshoot, but I feel like you have more of a control situation with it. And J-Dub, it's going to be one more year of Randle, Foolish, and Tibbs convening Leon to keep Burks, Rose, and Fournier. I'm very sad. Tibbs convincing Leon to keep Burks and Fournier. Look, the story hasn't been written yet, but we could certainly see that happening, everyone. We could certainly see it happening, but I feel like the Knicks front office, will have to cut bait with some of their mistakes. They can't roll out the same roster and just say, hey, we just didn't play well enough. I feel like that'd be insane. I feel like Burks, Rose, Nerlens Noel are the most likely to be out of here. Kemba Walker's certainly out of here. Fournier might be more of a stayer, but I can understand. Like, the Knicks don't have that track record. I can understand why you could be sad. I tend to focus on positives and constructive negatives as well. We do need to, empower our youth. We do need to empower what's good with this roster and kick away what's not good. That's, like I said, you can't continue to rock with dudes that aren't getting it done for you. Duras Zion train is coming. Next stop 34th. Yep, that could be it. That could be part of their plan. Let's see. And the first transgender model to cover Sports Illustrated. I love Jason Collins. I miss him so much. Geraldine, I meant the playoffs. Yep. Kareem, salute. What's good? What's good? Appreciate you. Appreciate it. Let's get it. Give us your thoughts. Amal, a consolidation trade is needed, and I'm wondering if Tibbs is the draft. Wondering if this is the draft to do it. I would love Ivy or Jabari Smith, but no one else as well. Yeah, this is a fascinating draft, Amal. It's fascinating, right? The draft process, and that always fascinates me, but this one particular, because we know next year's deep. Like, next year is going to be star talent, no lie. But this one, there's talent. It's anybody's guess. It's in the eye of the beholder, basically. We have Walt Perrin. We have the pick. We have needs still. And there is some stud talent in this draft right now. And I agree with the consolidation trade. If we could either move back and get 2 solid starters, or we could trade some young players and move up to get a better difference maker, that I think all things are on the table. I think this draft night is going to be wild. It's going to be absolutely wild. And like I said, I think all but Evan Fournier will be very, very easy to be traded. I think we could move from Alec Burks anytime we like. We could move from Kemba anytime. Nerlens Noel is only $10 million expiring. I think Julius Randle will have enough trade value on draft night. And look out for the Portland deal, with two first-round picks in the top 10. Let's see what Portland want to do. And I feel like Cam Reddish is a nice teaser to help us move up if we want. Obi Toppin could be a icing on the cake to help us move up too. So we do have some wheeling and dealing we can. And I salute Bren. Hard-working generational talent is really what it takes. Look at Giannis, Bron, KD, Duncan, Kobe, McGrady, all those teams. Yep, the like. You could include a lot. Yep, Kawhi. Yeah, absolutely. Hard-working generational talent. Yeah, absolutely. Because you know what? High draft picks on rookie deals, they get paid an ungodly amount of money. So that's what separates players that just don't achieve their potential versus these generational guys that you say, they, regardless of the paycheck, their mission is to be the best ever, to be remembered for being the best ever. Where some players get drafted very high, they get that $20-30 million in guaranteed money for the rest of their life, and that tests their will. You know, the partying, the clubs, the perks that they get, the ego that gets to their head, all of those things affect whether a player can get to the top. You know, no doubt. The circle around them, organization, the situations, etc. Yeah, and free agents go to other teams to win a chip. They're not coming here. We need to learn how to treat our players and surround them with better coaching and staff and players. Yep, you hit the money, that situation. And the sad thing is what rings home, Geraldine, is do you remember Leon Rose's introductory Zoom press conference? I just keep hearing those words uttered from that press conference with Leon Rose saying, our job is to build this organization up so that it is attractive enough for players to want to come, you know, doing things the right way and all that. Well, I don't think we're any step closer to being in that situation, which is sad. I just don't. We're favoritism of certain dudes, not giving certain dudes a chance. Dudes aren't wanting to come here. It's a fact right now. We need to be honest with ourselves. And J-Dub, what scares me is Tibbs don't even play the players we draft. Example of Deuce Obi only played Grimes because of the injury. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And I think, one, he played Kemba for way too long. And then when he cut Kemba, he brought him back. Right. For me, when Kemba Walker was said, he's not in the rotation anymore, that's when Kemba Walker should have been done. He never should have been brought back again. Right there. So you're flip-flopping on your decision-making, right? It just makes you look foolish, you know, with no spine. Another one, yep, chuck in Kobe. Exactly right. The greats that truly want to get better and better and better. And I think RJ Barrett's a player that definitely wants to get better and better and better. Leon and Tibbs' relationship is going to be a big problem. Leon will lose. It's his job because of his loyalty to Tibbs. Yep. Yeah, J-Dub, no lie. Now, just touching on that and the Bleacher Report article this week, you know, I think it was planned. You know, that was the way you guys look at things. You know, the way I look at it is, yeah, it was a planned leak, basically. You know, Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report. It wasn't just I found out. You know, I found out a scoop that, you know, the Knicks are planning to keep Tom Thibodeau. No, these things are planned leaks, basically saying, you know, we want to cut the speculation out. We don't want Tibbs' future to be speculated on, you know. We want to be out of the back pages. So let's leak this, you know. We're making our decision. Cut all the foolery. Tom Thibodeau will stick around. You can debate it next season all you like, but we don't want that speculation hanging over the club as well. So that's why that thing leaked at a timely manner as well. So he can continue to play Alec Burks. He can continue to play his guys and not have those articles and speculation running hot as well. So yeah, it was perfect timing, and it was a purposeful leak, guaranteed. And Brent, it's one thing to be in the playoffs and the play-ins, another thing to have the team good enough for the championship. Facts, exactly right. That's what I said. Basketball ain't about just slow, you know, it's about improvement, absolutely, but it's about how close are you to winning a championship and how much closer are you getting as well. Now, I can understand some teams do make the playoffs 7th seed, then they move up to the 5th, then they grow to the 3rd, then they become a title contender as well. That definitely happens, slow growing, incremental growth as well. But those rosters are generally young rosters that get better and better and better as well. A vet roster of people around the same age generally doesn't go from 7, 5, 3rd to 1st, right? especially with Evan Fournier, Burks, Randle, etc., etc. Now, how do you continue to grow? Is if you draft young talent and they continue to get better each year as well, just like the Warriors dynasty with Steph. And J Dub says, don't be surprised if Gerson is the Leon replacement. Yep. Look out for that, ladies and gentlemen. That was a chess move as well. Like I said, J Dub, it was James Dolan saying, hey, okay, I've trusted these younger guys to grow on the job, but I don't want to set them completely up to fail. They're failing so far. Let me spend a bit more money and have another guy to oversee what the hell they're doing, basically. And like Edward says, if James Dolan listened to your expertise, he would hire you. man. We're all wise up in here. A lot of this knowledge and opinions, and again, it's all everyone's opinion. Everyone's opinions welcome here. We shout it out. We keep it 100. Healthy Knicks talk on Knicks Buzz. Hit the like button for your cuz, and we continue to chop this thing up, right? Because the season's almost over. What is the plan moving forward? Like we talked about with Mark Berman this week, this shapes to be one of the biggest summers of this organization's history. No lie. Again, records are going to be broken. Whether it's RJ Barrett signing his rookie extension next season, that breaks that record. More coaches being fired, perhaps. Losing Mitch, keeping Mitch. Trading up. It's all on the table right now. But the New York Knicks have had success drafting recently, and they've had success with some trades. The Cam Reddish move was a great trade this season, but how we're managing Cam hasn't been a good move. So it's been like every one good move this organization does, they take away from it as well, right? Too many chefs in the kitchen. That's a plain fact, right? Tell me how many organizations in the NBA have a president, a GM, assistant GM, a coach that was a former president, a William Wesley consultant, a Gerson Rosas consultant. You can't make this stuff up. J-Dub, I would trade Fournier, Randle, Burks for picks in the 2023 draft, which will be very, very deep. Yep, indeed. And that might be the draft Bronny James comes out, right? Is that the one? And we, the high school draft maybe as well. We have heaps of second round picks. And Kareem, we signed the Hunt guy. Do you think Leon is making a little more, making more little moves than power moves? Yeah, I think so. With those moves, it's just a upside swing. They really liked Samanic, Luka. They took the upside swing, but he was injured for 2 months, and they just weren't willing to be patient, so they cut bait, and then they signed this guy. I think the Knicks need more athletes. I think this guy suits our roster a lot more. We need athletes at the wing, whereas Luka Samanic, he could have a bright future, but we have Mitch, we have Randall, we have Sims, and we have Obi. So the Luka move was a bit more redundant, whereas this guy has upside. This guy is an athlete. Edward, if Dolan listened to you, yep, yeah, facts. Appreciate that. Knicks fan turned team prez. Hey, anything can happen, right? If an actor can become governor, if an agent become president, every one of us and you guys in the chat, aspire to be the best you can be. You know what I mean? Be humble, be willing to grow and learn, gain knowledge from others, and anything's possible. One of you guys could be the team president one day. You know what I mean? It's just about learning. Who would have thought Leon Rose, an agent of a CAA, would be running this club now? It was crazy. Phil Jackson ran this club as well. So crazy things have happened. And I think the fact that we have multiple picks and the movable contracts plus some talent, a good spot to be in. Yep. We're not, certainly if we want to compare years past, it's night and day, Amal. We're nowhere near strapped. We're nowhere near strapped into situations where we've been in the past with dead end contracts and things like that. We can definitely maneuver. My question is, do we have the right guys in the seats to make the right decisions now to get us to elevate us above where we are right now, because it's been a fall from grace, like 4th seed last season to missing the play in, like it's just crazy. Like the odds of the Knicks missing the play in this season, and here we are. Like it's been a grand failure. P Nice, let Mitch walk, and Jericho is better. Yep, Jericho has high upside. Mitch, I feel like I've seen enough from him to know what he's great at, what he's good at, and what he's not good at as well. Let another organization pay Mitch. I wouldn't be mad if he stuck around, but man, I feel like again I want to see a more versatile offense, a versatile player. If Julius and RJ are here, we need a dude that can stretch the floor. Yep, Canal. Y'all still here. I just woke up. A salute. Yep, we're here heavy, going strong. The chat's just been spitting too much facts, basically spitting knowledge. Yeah, Ed, it took Milwaukee years to build that trophy. Indeed. Knicks are in a position to do that now if they have the right coach. Let's try something different. I want Penny Hardaway, Tibbs back one more year. Yep, I think it's a ticking situation with Tibbs, no lie. Penny Hardaway, that's interesting. Yeah, he's definitely doing some good things. Definitely doing some good things. And a good point about Milwaukee as well. Good point. Yeah, right. Who would have thought Milwaukee would have got to the top of the mountain? Right. It takes patience. It takes a front office with a vision. Right. No more short-sighted moves, short-sighted signings and that. Right. We've been doing that for 30 odd years, 50 years, and it's gotten us nowhere. Right. We could have won multiple chips right now. And if you watched the interview, I talked with Peter Vesey. If we had kept, hypothetically, if Pat Riley had stayed, a man with a plan, a man with a vision, we would have won multiple championships right now. Donnie Walsh was slowly building something, a man with a plan, a man with a vision. He lucked out with some of the draft decisions, but he was patient as well. So I think the biggest issue we've had is no patience. We cut things too soon. The front office has forced the hand of Tibbs' rotation by manipulating the roster, aka Reddish. So that's a great point too. The front office has an even bigger opportunity, Tay, to force his hand next season by trading up Burks, trading up Noel, maybe trading Fournier, trade Kemba as well. Leon worth 300 mil. Whew, man. And Vaughn, salute. Until Obi has a coach that plays him to his strength and a point guard, it's a lost cause. He, at the moment with this organization, is borderline heartbreaking. Yep. It is, right? It's sad. And, I can't even believe the fact that it was a Leon Rose selection as well. Let that sink in, right? You think he would have some kind of control or foresight to change this situation, right? Obi Toppin heading into his 3rd season, got no value at all, playing 8 minutes a night in meaningless games, Tonight was a meaningless game, so to speak, and Obi still couldn't play even more minutes, still getting yanked after one mistake right now. It's heartbreaking, like you said, right now. I mean, even if you still want to play Randle, why do you need to play him that many minutes, right? Randle could have played 32 minutes tonight, 30 minutes, right? We've seen enough from Randle. We know what he is. If anything, rest him for next season. Don't be going crazy with that. And I'll take Mike Miller back to coach. At least he will develop our players. Yeah, I was one of two, Geraldine, Miller or Atkinson, dudes with runs on the board. They did it. That's all I'm about. The Knicks keep paying guys with no experience just because of their name, sexy name or whatever. But Mike Miller, Kenny Atkinson had the runs on the board, and Miles Turner for P Nice. He would definitely stretch the floor, block shots like he does. And like the chat spit knowledge earlier, this show, if the Knicks do have an issue with Mitch and paying him, they do have to have their plan. They do need to have their plan ready to execute. Is that Miles Turner? Is it Mo Bamba? Is it Christian Wood? Is it Jericho Sims? Maybe they keep Jericho Sims and Nerlens Noel and rock with that. Like you say, Mo off the bench. Mo's going to command a decent salary, man. He's balling out. And J-Dub, when we look at our team, we must compare ourselves to our competition. Are we ready to deal with the team like the Bulls, Bucks, Sixers, Nets? Not even talking about the young teams on the come up. Yeah, exactly. Like I've been saying, they have a plan and they're executing it slowly. Um, the Orlando Magic dipping into the top 3 again. Detroit dipping into the top 3, bona fide talent year after year. They're building the right way, like Philly did, like the Cavs and the Hornets have as well. And like you said, yeah, you need to ask yourself which clubs in the NBA are we better than as well. That tells us how far away we are. We need to be very, very realistic with where we're at, right? And I think the New York Knicks struggle being realistic and looking themselves in the mirror to see where we really at in terms of the NBA, because to think that we can go into a season with Randle as the number one and to go deep into a playoff run, I mean, that's way misguided, right? If all shake right, we would have made the playoffs and maybe had a first round exit again or 1 round win with Julius Randle as our best player. But the fact that they think that this is a winning roster with Julius Randle as your number one and a learning, growing RJ Barrett, that's extremely misguided in this NBA, and we've been humbled. The Chicago Bulls, the Bucks, Sixers, Nets, like you said, they're all making chess moves, and we're playing checkers. And we need the man with a vision, like you said, no more silly moves. Yep, I was kind of hoping Messiah Ujiri would come, or we could lure someone like a Presti. Look at the guy in Cleveland and Memphis, the work they're doing as well. So, when Leon was hired, I had high hopes. I had, let's be patient. This guy knows the players, landscape. He knows the situations. He'll lean on people, but man, is he laid an egg right now? And he ain't even a man of the people, right? Leon Rose ain't even going up, speaking to the people, building relations, building the Knicks PR, all of that, man. They're ostracizing the media right now. I feel for the media at some point as well. They're just trying to bring us the news, the story on this team, right? The latest disdain for the media, like Peter and Mark Berman have spoke on to me about, and the NBA not allowing reporters in the locker room, things like that. Leon Rose not even talking. He puts a statement out today about the Kenny Payne thing. Like, so what? Like, Kenny Payne, an assistant coach, goes to somewhere and you put out a statement, but you don't put out no statement after the trade deadline, or the Kemba Walker fiasco, etc. Like I said, is that the man with a vision? I don't know. And Julian, I hate this season. We suck, but we don't suck enough to get the top 5. Our shining light is RJ's development and the Reddish trade. Yeah, absolutely. And possibly Mitchell Robinson staying or getting signed and traded as well. I'd put that as a shining light, because Mitch has increased his value, despite all the issues with point guard and that. Mitch has expanded his value with that. And I think the Knicks' talent is much better than people think. They're getting huge leads on teams, top teams. The reason they don't win is Tibbs' lack of in-game decisions, matchup subs, and closers as well. Yep. Yeah, look, you hit the nail there, Ed. I think with the games, we certainly have lost a lot of close games this season. I think that the organization, the players, the roster knows how to compete for 2-3 quarters. It's generally one quarter that lets us down. And I think without the point guard, Julius players getting gassed, I think that hurts a lot. And Miles says Durant is the play in the draft. If we can't move high enough, he does more offensively than Mitch. Yep, he does, man. He's nice, not going to lie. And I'm getting excited for this draft class. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting night. We have the tools to trade up. We have the tools to trade back as well. So let's see. There's heaps of talent. Ty is out of the draft now. What do you guys think about Ty being out? And what does that mean for the Knicks trying to nab a point guard? It's going to be tough in the 10 to 12 range to get a quality point guard right now. I like Kennedy Chandler and that performance against Ty as well. Gene Montero is a prospect. I'll be doing a deeper dive in as well. I'll be getting some guests on as well to talk about the draft and the prospects as well. So we get closer and closer. Let's just enjoy March Madness, and we'll evaluate further after as well. But yeah, keep throwing out your draft likes and sleepers. Geraldine Tibbs will be here. He's going to want to keep his guys, Burks, Noel, Randle, IQ, Gibson, RJ. Let's be real as well. Yeah, he trusts those guys. He does. But you know what? It ain't Tibbs' decision to make. It's Leon Rose. Leon Rose needs to step up and be a man, and also say it's my way or the highway. Tom Thibodeau, right? I feel like there's way too much loyalty to a fault, right? You can be loyal to something to a fault, right? If somebody's abusing you, you don't stay loyal to that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if Tom Thibodeau keeps tanking the situation and playing Alec Burks at point guard, even though there's a valid young point guard ready to play minutes, that's being too loyal to a fault. Not playing Obi Toppin more than 10 minutes, a player that you spent a valuable asset on, 8th overall, that's tanking you, and that's being loyal to a fault, right? So Leon Rose needs to step up, tell Tom Thibodeau there's 12 games left. Obi Toppin plays no less than 23 minutes, etc. Deuce McBride, no longer DNP CDs, right? I'm sick of that. Tonight was an empty win for me. Deuce McBride not even playing. Yeah, it's just so many things wrong with this. Yeah, Canal's asking P, why would you want two of the same player at center? And if you want Mamba, just get him and keep Mitch. Yeah, Amal Chandler is good, but he's too small. Yeah, size is the knock on him. He's quick though, man. He is quick off the dribble. To something that Tai is not. And like Canal says, we need a young coach with a vision, right? Yep, could relate to the younger players as well, inspire them, motivate them, build them up as well. That's huge, right? This situation. And look, proof will be in the pudding. Another free agency. Who's going to come? Who really wants to come to play for Tom Thibodeau? I mean, Kyle Lowry and Josh Hart and all these players big up Tom Thibodeau, saying how much they loved him. Well, they both chose other teams, right? They both chose other teams. So that's interesting how players speak highly of Tom Thibodeau, but nobody comes here, basically. And Vaughn, no disrespect, COVID-19 actually has been the only thing to stop Tom Tibbs' insanity this year as well. Yeah, COVID-19, it's crazy, right? With the situation of needing to play certain dudes. It definitely could have been a lot worse. The Kemba Walker thing, again, the mishandling of that situation, ultimately is on the front office. They didn't address the point guard spot. And I feel for Tom Thibodeau in certain ways too, because he wasn't given, a complete roster to really go play his ways and go far. But the front office has done him no favors, and he's done himself, no favors, at all. So yeah, with that said, ladies and gents, we'll get ready to wrap up. But yeah, throw in your draft prospects out here. We're in this situation heavy. The New York Knicks have 12 games left. I want to see them have a specific plan. Stick to that plan, right, and stop being in mediocrity with short-sighted moves, short-sightedness. Let's keep it real. Do you trust the guy Leon who doesn't even show his face? Plus, if this year trade deadline was any indication of what's to happen this offseason, we're in trouble. Yep. No lie. Let's keep that up there. And I salute chat everyone, Bricks Nation. Appreciate you coming up here, everyone putting in their thoughts. But yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of debate heading into this offseason. A lot of fans are really, really going to lose patience. I feel like we're at that situation where before Phil Jackson was hired, a lot of fans were thinking of protesting and things like that. And I'm not saying it's at that point, but if this front office continues to commit malpractice, fans will turn away. There's no doubt. We have some bright spots on this roster that aren't being fully utilized. And this season, I'm okay with not making the playoffs. It's just we're not prioritizing the future right now. To continue to play Alec Burks for this long, a player who's probably going to be traded, who's probably going to be up out of here. It's insanity, right? You need to be investing in the future right now. We need to be investing in the future, right? The fact that he's continued Alec Burks just to make the play-in when Deuce McBride is the one on a rookie contract. He's the one we need to evaluate and make a decision on, not Alec Burks, you know? So, again, I don't trust them. You know, like J-Dub said, if you're being honest, I'm keeping it a buck. I don't trust no one with this situation. You know, have they done anything to make us trust them? Let me ask you guys that. You know, what has this front office organization done to make us trust them? Well, it's done nothing. They've sold us paper statements after paper statements, and mediocrity after mediocrity. You know, after year, right? And then they'll leak a statement saying they're trying to move up in the draft again, right? Complete short-sightedness moves, right? Watch us select in the 12th spot again, and it's going to be a player the fans will be up in arms about, debating about, all of those things, right? We'll be back to square one, right? So let's see these 12 more games. It's going to be interesting, right? It's going to be very, very interesting. Yeah, we'll continue to talk about the draft. Ivy, Davis. Let's look at March Madness. Yep, Johnny Davis, I like. I want to see more. We continue to watch it. How many organizations have a full roster when they hire a coach? That coaches had to come in and coach the players that they had. So, yep. And the Knicks fighting for the 14th pick. Yeah, absolutely. Again, yep. The draft's coming up. We can all hope and we can look at the prospects we want. But let's see, man. I think tonight's win, you know, it's solidified the fact that we're not going to select any higher than probably 8th. I think there's a couple more wins to come. So appreciate everyone, Tay, and everyone in the chat tonight. Let's keep it rolling. Off day, and then we'll be back again, and we'll get it again. But let's talk about the March Madness. Watch these prospects, and as always, keep the streets buzzing. Knicks buzz. Hit the like button for your Knicks cuz, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.